This morning, I'll tell you what in a bit. I think it's going to be one of those today. If you want to send me an email, well, Iain.lee@bbc.co.uk, any suggestions of things you might want to cram in. There's only one news story in the papers, though, today, isn't there? Isn't there? Those beheading videos. Would you watch one?
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
All of that and more coming up after the news with Kevin Pashby.
Good morning. David Cameron's led international condemnation of the killing of the British hostage Alan Henning, describing it as barbaric and repulsive. The British hostage has been murdered by militants from Islamic State. He travelled to Syria last December to deliver aid.
Second, absolutely second. The guy was trying to help people. We've got to put boots on the ground. We've got to annihilate these idiots, these terrorists. We've got to.
I would have thought they would have shown some mercy. I'm very surprised.
It's just shocking, really, isn't it? Can't say anything else about it, really.
Those men live in Mr. Henning's hometown of Eccles in Salford. In the video, the life of an American hostage identified as Peter Cassig is also threatened. Number 10 says Alan Henning's killing will not deflect Britain from supporting the war against IS. Haroon Khan is the Deputy Secretary-General of the Muslim Council of Britain.
The manner in which he's been dealt with is completely un-Islamic. There's no question on this, and I don't think anybody, any Muslim, any human being in this society has any doubt in this. They're just using him as propaganda. There's no question about this.
Well, the Prime Minister is being briefed by intelligence and security officials right now. We're expecting a statement from him sometime this morning. President Obama describes the killing as a great loss to the Syrian people Mr. Henning had been trying to help. Other news now, and students in Birmingham are holding a demonstration later as violent scuffles between police and protesters continue. Officers in Hong Kong say they've arrested 19 people during street protests. It's after clashes between pro-democracy campaigners and people opposed to their protests. This afternoon in Birmingham, students will gather in support. Ellen Chung is a student at Birmingham City Uni. She's been talking to BBC WM this morning.
In this country, you can select whoever you want to be the government, and we're here to back up the students a bit because they've been treated violently by the police using tear gas and pepper spray, and we think it's really unfair.
A woman in Sweden's understood to have become the first in the world to have a baby after a womb transplant. Mother and baby are said to be doing well after the boy was born prematurely last month. A prison officer's been attacked at a jail in Kent. He was injured during a disturbance at Swaleside Prison on the Isle of Sheppey. The officer has since been released from hospital and 2 inmates are in isolation units at the jail. The Liberal Democrats are voting this weekend on plans to spend an extra £1 billion on the NHS if they win the next election. Party members are expected to approve the policy at their annual conference in Glasgow, which starts today. Sports news now, and West Bromwich Albion aim for a 4th successive win when they play at Liverpool at Anfield. It's the first of 2 commentary games here on BBC WM, starting at 3 o'clock. Aston Villa hope to repeat their shock win over Manchester City last season when the teams meet at Villa Park this evening. That'll be live from 5:30. Wolves start the day just 2 points behind the leaders in the Championship. They're at home to Wigan, whilst Blues travel to South London for the second time in a week, this time to face unbeaten Charlton. Clark says Charlton showed real discipline in defeating Norwich midweek.
I think they've withstood a lot of pressure. They don't give many goals away. They've got a pace in the team to hit you on the break, so we've got to be aware of that. All my team have to do is continue in the vein in terms of the performance, playing on the front foot, whichever system we go with our personnel.
Meanwhile, the Walsall manager Dean Smith is quietly confident they can become the first team this season to beat League One leaders Bristol City at the Banks' Stadium this afternoon. Taking a look at the weather, wet with some heavy downpours expected this morning. It should dry up this afternoon, highs reaching 15 Celsius, 59 Fahrenheit. It should be dry overnight, turning chilly with lows down to 5 Celsius, 41 Fahrenheit. Sunday's looking chilly but sunny. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice.
The Voice.
The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, dear listener. It's very, very hard to do a show when I have my producer shouting in my ear that I'm actually an irritating... How rude, how rude. We can hear you because the door's open, so that's not going to help anybody whatsoever. Morning, thank you, Molly, thank you, Phil. Always... There's Molly shutting the door for me, you see? Thank you. Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. It's one of those shows today. Joe, stop it.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
Yes.
9956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Who's the most irritating now? Morning, this is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. It's one of those shows today we kind of didn't really know what to do. And there's kind of, we thought, well, do we come in and we just mess around? I'd like to mess around a bit, but we can't really ignore, can we? The front page story on, I'm guessing it's all of the papers, about Alan Henning, who sadly has been beheaded. And I suppose our hand is kind of forced on a show like this, that we have to talk about this. We've been trying to think of an unusual, a different way of addressing the situation. I don't want to do the whole, should we send in ground troops? Should we go and bomb? I don't want to do that, really, because that isn't going to take us anywhere new or original, is it? Really? So I guess the question when it comes to, well, not specifically Alan Henning, and I don't want to dwell on him too much because it's still a little bit fresh, isn't it? But when it comes to these barbaric murders that are taking place over in Iraq, they've made videos of these, haven't they? They've done videos. These crazy killers have filmed the beheadings and posted them online. I don't even know where they are online. I'm assuming YouTube. I've not looked. I've made no attempt to look, and you'll see why in a second. I'm assuming they're on YouTube. That's got to contravene the policies of YouTube, I would have thought. But I kind of wonder, why would anyone go and watch those videos of the English and the Americans being beheaded? And I guess I'm kind of asking this question to you this morning, dear listener. Why? First of all, let's break this down, shall we? Have you watched these videos? Or any of them? And if so, why? Why would you do it? Why would you do it? I spoke to someone the other day who'd watched a video of a hostage being beheaded. And they said, well, it's because I want to know what we're up against. What? I want to know what we're up against. I'm interested in the psychology of it. I want to know what we're up against. Well, I don't need to see a video of someone being beheaded to know that we're up against a load of fruitcakes who go around chopping people's heads off willy-nilly. I don't need to see that evidence to know that that's what's going on. I can't think of anything I would rather not see, to be honest, than what must be a rather humiliating, degrading, obscene end of someone's life. So there are videos of people being murdered in a very gruesome way. They're online. They're apparently quite easy to find. A colleague of mine elsewhere a couple of weeks ago was watching one of these videos. I walked past his computer and I could see it was the early stages of one of these videos. A fella kneeling in the desert in one of those, I think it's an orange suit, and a fella stood next to him with a machete. And it made me uncomfortable. I walked away immediately. I had no interest in seeing what should be a very private moment. I had no interest in seeing it whatsoever. And I felt uncomfortable knowing that that was being played in the office somewhere. So, the question is, and I don't really want to get sidetracked into the, we should send ground troops, we should send the SAS, David Cameron should do this. We've had that conversation. We'll probably have that conversation again at a later date. I don't feel we need to do that today. I want to focus on these videos. Front page of the Times, Henning beheaded. ISIS video shows murder of British aid worker. A video showing the murder of the aid convoy volunteer Alan Henning was released online by the terrorist group Islamic State last night. Well, have you, and be honest, I'm not going to have a go at you. I want to understand why. Have you or anybody you know watched any of these videos? That's the first question. Second question is, why? Why on earth would you do that? What are you getting out of that? Because we know what we're up against. We're up against people who chop people's heads off. We know that. I don't need to see that. Imagine, I don't know if Alan Henning has kids or not, but they do have children, yeah. Imagine you're his wife, or you're one of his kids, and your dad, your husband, is murdered in one of the most barbaric ways, if you can have degrees of barbarism when it comes to murder. I think you can, probably. Murdered in one of the most barbaric ways possible, and that video is shared, it's filmed, and it's shared online. You wouldn't want people watching that, would you? You wouldn't want people watching your dad, your husband, your brother, your son being killed. It's going to be quite a heavy first hour. Don't worry, there is plenty of light coming up later on in the show. I promise. But I just want to know, have you watched any of these videos? Why would you watch any of these videos? 03 453 00 9956 is the telephone number. If you want to give me a call on that, please. Because every time I hear a video's been released, I just shudder. And think, well, that's another thing to add to the list of things I never want to see. 03453 00 9956 is the phone number. Malcolm's in Bourneville. Morning, Malcolm.
Morning, Ian. All right, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks. You watched any of these videos?
No, I haven't seen any of them. But from the start, when he first said he was going over there, I thought, well, he's a caring person, obviously. He's very caring, but he's a fool. Because anybody going to one of them places like that today, they know what to expect, and it's their own fault in a way.
Well, hang on a minute, Malcolm. You can't say it's Alan Henning. Look, I've just opened the Times, pages 4 and 5, and I've seen a picture I don't particularly want to see of Alan Henning kneeling in the desert with some nut job holding a knife next to him. It's not his fault, Malcolm. It's not his fault that some fruitcake who's got a twisted perversion of Islam, a really twisted perversion, has chopped his head off. You can't blame it on Mr. Henning.
No, not for that, but you know, you got an idea what's going to happen to you if you go to them places, especially being a Christian.
Malcolm, there's footage of him on the news today. He's loading up a truck, or unloading a truck full of nappies. He's gone to help little kiddies, little orphan kiddies.
Yes, I know, but that's what I said. He's caring and he wants to help, and he does that. We all do. Got to be a fool to go to a place where you ain't going to stand much chance of with people like that around.
Well, do you know what? In that case, I think the world needs more fools, don't we?
Well, of course, there's loads of us. We're all fools in a way.
We
but
need
not
more.
that foolish.
We need more fools, to use your term, like Alan Henning, to go to these countries, to stick two fingers up to these fruitcakes, and to help orphaned children in war zones.
Yes, of course, yeah, but that's all right, Ian, as long as you haven't got maniacs around that'll come and shoot you or chop your head off just for the sake of it.
So because
you're from the Western society.
We let these little kiddies starve, do we? We let these little kiddies roll around in their filth and in their muck, yeah? That's what we should do.
No, of course we don't.
Well, then what
do
we do? What do we do then?
We got no choice. We give it to their own people to look after them, don't we? The ones who was with him.
Do you think it's Alan Henning's fault that he's been beheaded?
In a sense, not his fault. Not his fault because he's been beheaded, but in a way it is because we knew that he was going to be caught or be given up because these people don't like Western people.
Malcolm, we'll end it there. Thank you. Gosh, first call in, first cab off the rank, and already I'm a little bit... Ooh. Really? Is it Alan Henning's fault he had his head chopped off? I must stop using that phrase. I'm sorry, it demeans it. Beheading. Is it Alan Henning's fault that he was beheaded? Well, the last caller, Malcolm, seems to think that it was. He seems to think that it was. Really? I can't buy that for a second. 03453 00 9956. Let's get the travel news. Liz, is it you today? Oh, blimey. There's no one. Who's there? Who's there? Spooky, mysterious. Let's find out as we go into the realms of the travel. Who's that doing the travel today?
That'll be Matthew.
Matthew, I do apologise here. My production team have decided to take a mental break. I'm just writing your name now. Matthew, let's hear what you've got for us this morning, boss.
It'd be rude not to. The weather this morning not at its best. Please take care if you're out and about. Still the problems through Quinton. Hagley Road West, of course, has those temporary lights by the Wolverhampton Road, which are causing some problems. In Lichfield, Staffordshire Police are dealing with an accident on the Birmingham Road, just by the railway bridge, if you know it. And also West Mercia Police dealing with problems in Kings Norton with Druids Lane, the scene of a closure just by the Chelworth Road. Events taking place in Smethwick at the mosque. It's Eid prayer taking place, so Grove Street is closed for about the next hour or so. Busy around Orowus for the Wall motorcycle event taking place at the National Memorial Arboretum, and through Sutton Coldfielders it's the National Road Relays Championships at Sutton Park. Motorway's not too bad bar the spray. Just bear in mind 2 weekend closures this weekend. The M54, the eastbound exit slip road is closed at Junction 2, so you can't exit onto the A449, and the northbound entry slip for the M6 at Junction 12 is also closed, so again you can't come from the A5 north on towards the M6. But if you can update us, call us please. It's 08453 0022 88.
A Wolverhampton man has spoken exclusively to BBC WM to pay tribute to his brother who died after a hurricane in Mexico.
With him going missing and also Simone, it's the not knowing bit that rips you apart more than anything.
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
Tess,
Yes,
we can't have you here and not talk about Strictly. We are.
Can we?
When it was first pitched to you, when your agent first called you and said, listen, I've got you this hosting gig, did you think, what on earth is this?
Well, I love dancing and I love Bruce Forsyth. So I thought, let's give it a go. Who knows if it's going to work?
Pete Morgan at breakfast.
What a wonderful way to start the day. Good morning, hello, welcome.
Monday to Friday, 6 till 9.
BBC WM 95.6.
Strictly Come Dancing, or as my boys call it, Strictly Bum Dancing. Really? Really? Actually, they've never heard of the programme. I'm imagining that's what they would call it. I can't believe that programme is still going. Hey, I know what we can do on a Saturday night. Let's watch a load of people we've never heard of and the bald one from MasterChef dancing not very well. Should we do that, guys? Yeah? That sounds awesome. My wife watches Strictly Come Dancing, but she doesn't watch the dancing. She just watches the judges' comments. So she'll record it and then fast forward it through the dancing. Isn't that ridiculous? 03453 009956. Don't listen. A heavy start to the show this morning, guys. Don't worry, I can steer this ship around. Plenty of light to come, and we will be throwing in some light bits and pieces, I promise you. At the moment, though, Alan Henning, he's on the front page of all the papers. He's been beheaded. There is a video online. Well, already we've gone off into two tangents. The first tangent is, why would anybody want to watch one of these videos? Why? There's several of these videos in existence. If you've watched one, could you explain to me why you watched it? What were you hoping to see? What did you want to get out of it? Because I just can't get it. I just can't understand why anybody would. 03453 009956. And then already, first tangent, first call, Malcolm saying, well, it's kind of his fault, really. It's kind of his fault. He shouldn't have gone over there. He was a fool. Those were his words. He was a fool. Well, doesn't the world need more fools like that, then? Craig's in Dudley. Morning, Craig.
Morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
I think there should be a blanket ban on these videos, out of respect of the person involved and that person's family.
The thing is, they're online, so you can't ban stuff that's online, can you?
You can take it down. You can take it. It's just out of respect. You go to the companies that put them online, like YouTube and everything else, and just take them down.
Well, I imagine... listen, I don't know if it's been on YouTube. I imagine if it were on YouTube that it has been taken down, but anybody can buy a website and put a video up there. It's really simple to do. You can't... you can tell the TV companies not to show it, which they won't. You can tell the papers not to print the pictures. But if it's online...
You can still take it down, Ian. You can still take down websites, Ian.
But then, Craig, they'll set up another website. It's impossible to police. This is why there's child pornography online, because it's impossible to police it.
Yeah. As with Alan himself as well, it's good what he did to help other people. But Alan would have been security briefed before he went out there, and he was actually told not to go into Syria because of the risks.
Is he a fool like Malcolm just said?
I wouldn't say he's a fool for going to help someone else. but he's a fool for certainly not listening to good sound security advice.
Craig, thank you. Oh, dear. A fool. If he's a fool, if he was a fool, then we need more fools like this, don't we, to stand up to these idiots and say, do you know what, I'm going to go and help sick orphaned kiddies, whatever. Don't we? Oh, dearie, dearie me. We can't be suggesting that that people don't go off their own bat and support. Help kids and help people who are in trouble. Really? 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. David Cameron has led international condemnation of the killing of the British hostage, Alan Henning, by the so-called Islamic State. A video posted on the internet last night shows Mr. Henning, it shows him not having a particularly pleasant time and being murdered. His killer appears to be the same British jihadist who beheaded 3 other Westerners, including the other fella. Do you remember David Haynes? We were talking about him a few weeks ago. I'm trying to get my... there's an unfortunate choice of words. I'm trying to get my head around why somebody would watch these videos. 03453 009956. Kalsoon Bashir is from the Inspire Foundation, a human rights and counter-terrorism organisation. Morning, Kalsoon.
Good morning.
These videos, I'll ask the question, have you seen any of these murderous videos?
No, absolutely not. I wouldn't want to give anything like that any more oxygen, really. It's difficult enough hearing about such news in the media, but to actually go and look for it, I don't think so.
I've not seen them. I have absolutely no interest in seeing them. Just the descriptions I've read, I know all I need to know. But yet people do watch these videos. They are accessible. Why do you think they are watching them?
I think it's, perhaps compulsive viewing. People like to watch horror and depravity. It's just part of human nature. Curiosity, I don't know. It's beyond me, but it's not something I wish to give oxygen to.
What do you think? Because I've opened the Times, page 4 and 5. They've got a story of Mr. Henning, and there's a picture in there that makes me feel uncomfortable of Mr. Henning in one of these orange jumpsuits, kneeling in the desert while there's a fella next to him with a knife. How much should we be holding back on what is shown?
I think, as I said, for me personally, it's difficult enough reading about it, and I don't want pictures like that seen at my dinner table, shown to young people. It's giving them the oxygen that they need. The horror and the outrage that's expressed nationally and internationally shows the brutality of such actions. Do I need it on my television screens and the media? I really don't.
It's a fine balancing process, isn't it? Because we need to know what's going on, but I mean, it's the front page of the Sun, it's the front page of a lot of the papers.
And that's serving their purposes.
This is
they
what I was
want to
gonna say.
instill fear of God into.
Yeah.
It's a very slick PR machine that they have there. They know that such images will put fear into people, and that's their aim, really. We don't know the extent of their force or their power, but some images will instill that fear into people internationally.
So we are, to a certain extent, we're being manipulated by them.
Absolutely, yes.
There is also, I've also heard the argument, Kalsoon, that gosh, this is a really hard conversation to have, but let's just spit it out and see what happens. That by having these stories of Mr. Henning and Mr. Haynes on the front page of the papers, it also kind of benefits our government in as much as the British people get angry and are therefore more supportive of action against ISIS or ISIL.
We have to. I mean, the purpose of my organisation is to stand up and condemn such acts. I mean, we've just launched a major campaign involving women because, unfortunately, their ideologies are appealing to a certain minority of young people who are going out and joining ISIL. So our aim is to give that counter-narrative, whatever they put out. We have to fill the void and give the counter-narrative and show it out to be the barbaric regime and ideology that it is.
We've had a caller this morning, a couple who've suggested that Mr. Henning and others who go out to as aid workers, that they're fools and that they've almost brought this upon themselves.
I think, do we stand back and watch people suffering? I think, to me, he was a humanitarian. He was moved by the suffering of people that didn't speak the same language as him, that weren't the same race as him, that were a different religion from him. He was moved by the plight of suffering children and fellow human beings. And as you said before, we need more people like him if we as human beings don't respond to human suffering. I hope.
Kalsoon, listen, I appreciate your time this morning. Thank you very much. That's Kalsoon Bashir, the Inspire Foundation, a human rights and counter-terrorism organisation. And I kind of agree with what she was saying at the end. If he's a fool, we need more fools like this, don't we? We need more people to say, do you know what? I'm prepared to put my life at risk to go and help others. Hang on a second. Isn't that a very Christian attitude to take? Isn't that a very heroic attitude to take? Isn't that a very, I don't know, a British attitude to take? Whatever that means. To say, do you know what? Stuff you bullies. I'm going to go and help that little kid who's over there. Don't we need more people doing that? 03453 009956. Alex is in Great Bar. Morning, Alex.
Good morning, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. What do you want to say?
OK, I won't really get into the politics of it all. I'm just going to say, you know, it's quite sad that people have got to fill their lives with perhaps going online to watch the beheading of someone. I mean, you know, why would you want to watch that? You know, it's almost as bad as these paedophiles who look at images of kids that say, well, I'm not a paedophile, but I was just looking. Why would you want to watch the beheading of someone? How sad must you be?
We've yet to have any... And I'm really hoping that someone phones up this morning, Alex, and tells me they've watched it, so I can try and ask why. I have heard the argument, well, it's there, so I might as well see it. But you're right. Well, child pornography is there. I don't need to see it.
Exactly. I mean, you know, I don't think anyone will have I don't know, they'll probably be too ashamed to ring in to say they've actually watched it. But yes, there are beheadings around the world anyway in some Saudi countries. I've been told before that
Alex, we're losing you, mate. We've got your point, but we're losing you. Thank you. Give us a call if you've seen one of these videos. Then let me know. I need to speak. I'm not going to have a go. I just want to know why. Just want to know why. Matt's in Solihull. Morning, Matt.
Hello there. Good morning. You have a good programme this morning.
Thank you very much, Matt. Don't worry, boys and girls. It will get lighter as the morning. We've started off straight. We're going to go on the bend quite soon. I promise thee.
Yes. Well, that man that went out there and got beheaded.
Yes.
It's a terrible thing, really. But he should not be there. It's as simple as that.
Why not?
He had a wife and kids in Manchester, and he was a taximan, and he should stay at that. The trouble with people getting involved in these things, they don't know what's going to happen.
No.
I don't think these people that's watching these photographs really has been seen anything like what I have seen. Dead people with this just sudden death, with the steam coming off the bodies.
All right, we don't need to go. Matt, listen, we've got young ears.
I'm an ex-soldier.
I know you are, Matt, and I'm sure you've seen some incredibly horrific things, but just bear in mind we've got young ears listening, so we don't need to go too much into the descriptions.
I know, but if people seen the reality of it, they wouldn't be watching these things. I don't know what thrill people get of seeing other people tortured, like. You know, there's something mentally wrong with these people.
Alan was volunteering... He was in Syria.
Yeah, if you were an ex-soldier, you'd be told never volunteer.
Matt, don't we need people like Alan to stand up to these thugs and say, you know what, you can't push everybody around.
Well,
let me put it in simple terms. Isn't Alan Henning a hero?
He got not lightly at all. He's entitled to nothing. He should have stayed in Manchester.
So you don't think that what he did was heroic?
Not at all. No.
OK, Matt, thank you very much indeed. Just bear in mind, guys, we've got young ears listening this morning. I always like to think, would my kids be comfortable listening? If my kids were sat in the car listening to this, would they be comfortable? So we don't need to go into the graphic descriptions. Is he not a hero? Very rarely does, that word gets bandied around and it's can be a little bit flippant. Was it heroic what he did? to go and help kids who are suffering, to put his life at risk. So there's this famous picture of him holding a Syrian refugee. There's loads of footage of him today unloading nappies. He's unloading nappies off a van. For crying out loud. And yet he's been called a fool. The callers this morning have called him a fool, have said he's brought it on himself. He should have stayed at home being a cabbie. If we all stayed at home being a cabbie, the world would be a pretty rotten place, wouldn't it? Wouldn't it? Doesn't it take people like Alan Henning to stand up to make a difference? 03453 00 9956 is the phone number. Ozzy's on the line. Morning, Ozzy.
Morning.
Yeah, is it Alan Henning a hero?
I think he's a very brave man, to be honest. He's a Christian, and he's doing his deed. I don't think he was a fool. But I just think there's just too much of it on TV, on the papers. Since our tornadoes have been involved, they've shown that video of that van being blown up or wagon being blown up with 6 or 7 people on the back of it, blown to smithereens. I've seen it 6 or 7 times, and every time it's shown, it sickens me to think life's precious. No matter what they are, life is precious. And every time they show that, it just rubs their backs up a little bit more. This is war, and it counts for both sides. And, don't think I'm agreeing with them at all. I am not. But I think there's just too much being shown on TV. Our troops should keep it to themselves, and it shouldn't be on. We shouldn't be showing our people what we are doing. And we should put a news blockage of what's coming out of there as well.
There is a weird thing, isn't there? And it kind of started with Vietnam, and that's why there was one of the reasons there was such a backlash in America against the Vietnam War, because it was the first war that was on TV every single night, and so they saw the bodies coming back. And as we've gone into 24-hour rolling news, it's become even more. It does seem odd that we're shown everything that happens, because that means, hey, guess what, guys? They can see everything that happens as well. I bet ISIS have got blooming Sky, haven't they?
Of course they have, yeah. Of course they have. And it just rubs their backs up. And it rubs the people over here the way, because we have still got racists in this country, and people are sneering and saying, and laughing at them. And all it does is just causes more hatred across the world. It's going to happen, and it's got to happen to sort these people out. And we've got to go in, and I believe we've got to send troops in and sort them out. Our top crack IS, SAA, SA, and send them in and sort them out. But I think they're just showing too much on live TV the whole time. I've seen that video of that one tornado.
Yeah.
I've seen it once. I've seen it half a dozen times.
Ozzy, listen, thank you. 03453 009956 is the phone number if you want to give us a call. I'm really keen to speak to someone who's watched one of these murderous videos. I don't want to have a go at you. I just want to talk to you and find out what. I don't know what you've seen. I've just read a description in the Times as well of what happened. I mean, hey guys, have a listen to some of these texts. Gosh, 4 texts I've got in front of me. I'll read them in the order they came in. Jay, Alan knew the risks when he went there. How dangerous it was. I think he was a bit stupid. You wouldn't walk into a fire not expecting to get burnt. Jay and Dudley. I think he was a bit stupid. Paul. Christians are far superior to this IS. They kill, yet we die for serving evil. I forgive them. Elliot. Yes, Alan Henning asked for it. Hopefully the tide will turn. We don't want filth like that here. Death to ISIS and all they stand for. We cater and pander to too many races and religions. This is England. A Christian country with Christian values. Words of David Cameron, Elliot in Bourneville. And then there's Anonymous here. Iain, I would put myself forward to have some line of tracker implanted into me and into Syria and try and get kidnapped so British can track me and wipe these horrible killers off the face of the earth. Couple of things here. I think he was a bit stupid, says Jay. And Elliot says, yes, Alan Henning asked for it. We cater and pander to too many races and religion. No comment from me. I'll let you have a little think, and you can have your comment. 03453 009956.
Iain Lee
on BBC WM
95.6. The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
Teresa's been on the longest. Good morning, Teresa.
Hello, my dear.
What? Oh, steady on there. What would you like to say?
Well, basically, I've just listened to your radio, and I'm thinking they're wrong.
Who's wrong?
Well, people that go about racism and everything. At the end of the day, you know, we're all here on God's earth. We shouldn't be doing that.
We should. Teresa, your line keeps breaking up, so I've missed half of your sentence. We shouldn't be doing what? Sorry.
We shouldn't be talking about, you know, racism or whatever. You know.
Why not?
But because it's not important. We're all God's people.
Yeah, but racism is important because not everybody. Some people believe that their race is superior to other races. So we have to talk about it, don't we?
Okay then. But
yes.
See, I haven't got the time. I know you're on the radio. But no. I suppose so. It's like with the police yesterday with Danny Kelly.
Yeah.
And a policeman is a policeman.
Yeah, Teresa, excellent statement there. A policeman is indeed a policeman. Any ideas? Then you can text me, 81333, start your text WM. I have not a clue. Let's hope Matt's a little bit more focused. Morning, Matt.
Morning.
I'm hoping you can construct a sentence in English. Would that be possible?
I'll give it a try.
What would you like to say?
Well, I was just saying, basically...
Matt, could you put your mouth near your telephone?
Is that any better?
That is better, sir, yes.
Yeah. Basically, Iain, is he a hero? Is he not? I believe he's a bit of both in a way.
Oh.
Because he's a bit of a fool for leaving his family behind.
Yeah.
And not going back to his children, etc. But then, are they happy that he went? Are they proud of him, or are they a bit angry with him for going?
Oh, I'm sure there's a whole mixture of those things. I'm sure they're angry. Yeah. I'm sure they're upset. I'm sure they're proud. I'm sure they're all kinds of things. Yeah. What he did, it is slightly different because he's got a wife and kids. But what he did was he went to help people who don't have a chance, who've got no one standing up for them.
Yeah, I totally agree. And the other point is, where's the support from our government and the UN, etc.? Where were they supporting him along the way?
Well, I don't listen. I don't know who's Mr. Henning's fullback. Matt, I'm going to let you go because your phone's rubbish as well. Is it rubbish phone day or something? Let me just check my diary. Hang on. No, that's next Saturday. I'm sure he went there. I don't know his full backstory, and maybe we'll find out as the show goes on. But he went there as a volunteer worker. He may well have been warned about the dangers. He probably knew the dangers. We've had people calling him a fool. Jay says he's stupid. Elliot saying he asked for it. Come on, guys. Two things. Have you seen any of these murderous videos, the beheading videos? 03453 009956. And secondly, was Alan Henning a hero? Is Alan Henning a hero? George is in Armitage. Morning, George.
Morning, mate.
What would you like to say, sir?
You keep saying people should go. When are you going, mate?
Sorry?
You keep saying people should go out there. When are you going?
Well, I'm not going, George, am I?
Why not?
Because I'm not going out there.
Well, why not? You're encouraging other people to go. Why aren't you going?
Not encouraging anybody to go out there at all.
You're saying people should go out there.
I'm saying if people want to go out there, they should go out there, yeah.
You know, I mean, to go out there, you're risking your life.
I'll tell you why I'm not going out there, George. I haven't got the balls. I haven't got the balls that Alan Henning obviously had.
Well,
too much of a coward.
That's fair enough, mate, that is. But people know when they go out there, the risk they're taking, and I think that taxi man... It got their livelihood at heart, but I don't think it should have gone because of what had happened before there. You know, it's a dangerous place to go.
Oh, it's so depressing though, George. If people don't go, there are some amazing aid workers who put their lives at risk to help little kiddies, to help little babies, and Alan Henning did that.
I know he did that. And,
isn't that a wonderful thing that he did?
That's the most upsetting part about it. They don't appreciate that, do they? Though you know what they are. You know, those people they're uncivilised.
Can you let's bring it back to how we started this hour, George. Can you understand why anybody would watch any of these beheading videos?
I think they're sick.
Yeah?
I think they're sick, yeah. I wouldn't watch one. Why do you want to watch that? You know, it's evil. I think people who watch that sort of thing are sick.
George, thank you very much. Andy's in Howes Owen. Morning, Andy.
Good morning, Ian.
Is Alan Henning a hero?
I don't know whether he was an hero, mate, but he was very dedicated, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he went over there to help the kiddies and things like that. He didn't go over there to help to fight against these ISIS. But what I'm ringing up about, every call you've had, every text you've had, not one have I heard say how sorry and the sympathy goes out to that man's family. I think it's absolutely shocking. I really do. I mean, I'm just lost for words. I really am. And to be if a fool, and he asked for it. What statements to come on and what statements to
Elliot on the text has said, Alan Henning asked for it. Jay says he was a bit stupid. Malcolm earlier on the phone said he was a fool.
I don't know what planet I'm living on, I really don't. I mean, this man, he was a brave man, you are right, in the sense that he was very dedicated. Obviously, but I blame Cameron. You know, it's all right him saying he's going to sort this man out. How many more people am I going to be at?
Well, there is this line, after David Haines was murdered, and now that Alan Henning has been murdered, there is the line, Cameron vows to hunt down depraved killers. Well, all right, David, how are you going to do it? How's that going? How's that plan going, David? You know, he vows to... Well, of course he's going to say that, but just tell us, Mr Cameron, how exactly is that going? We had the Americans last week saying they've identified the murderer. All right, then, well, go and get him. Go and get his family. I suspect that both the Americans and the British, when it comes to identifying these people and locating them, are floundering a little bit in the dark.
They are, yes. And as I say, it's going to come to it, isn't it? I mean, obviously, at some stage, they're going to send the troops in, and Cameron's going to say we're going to go into Iraq with the planes as well. But it's a very, very sad scenario, Ian. I mean, the frightening thing about it is, it can happen in this country. I mean, Cameron's dead right. I mean, I'm frightened. All my family's frightened. You don't know, walking down the street.
Frightened of what, Andy?
Well, they're saying about these ISIS when they're just kidnapping people, ain't they? I mean, it happened in Australia, didn't it, a few weeks ago? The police got a notion what was going on. I don't know the ins and outs. Obviously, it's only what I heard on the news.
Yeah.
And their Prime Minister come over and said they've got a group of people and they was going to go out and pick ordinary people out the street and behead them.
I wouldn't... I'm not frightened.
It's absolutely shocking, isn't it?
It's shocking, Andy, but I'm not frightened.
Well, I am. Well, I'm not saying I'm frightened. I'm just worried, obviously. You know, I mean...
But I'm not even worried. I remember the first time I went on the London Underground after the July the 7th bombs, OK? And the first time I was on there, I was sweating and I was not comfortable and I was... Second time, it was fine. I'm aware, but we can't be frightened.
Well, I think we are all worried, aren't we? I mean, we're only a small country.
I'm not worried. I'm not worried.
Well, for a start... with all the cutbacks on the forces and God knows what. I mean, he said himself we've only got about 39 planes, 39 tornadoes. There's 3 or 4 over in Cyprus.
Andy, listen, thank you for that. I'm going to move on because we're going to go to the travel. But are you frightened? Frightened? I hadn't even considered that a possibility. I'm uncomfortable. I'm aware that possibly something's going to happen very unpleasant in this country. Possibly, probably. I'm not frightened. Am I being naive here? Are you frightened? 03453 009956. It's BBC WM 95.6. Except the travel. Here's Matthew.
Weather-wise this morning, not particularly good. Please take care if you're out about. Some troubles for the motorways as well. The M6 northbound busy around 13 up towards 14, passing Stafford. There's a lane closed to barrier repairs. Even approaching that, bear in mind some weekend works to contend with as well. The M6 northbound entry slip at junction 12 is closed, and the eastbound exit slip of the M54 at junction 2 is closed. As a consequence of those two closures, I dare say we're going to see a bit more traffic on the A5 and the A449. Around the Quinton direction, Hagley Road West, of course, has those temporary lights by Wolverhampton Road. Staffordshire Police dealing with problems in Lichfield for the Birmingham Road, an accident just by the railway bridge. And there's also troubles through Smethwick as well with the mosque. It's the Eid prayer event this weekend. As a consequence of that, Grove Street, for the time being at least, remains closed. Watch out for some extra disruption around Smethwick as well. And through Orrewas as well, it's the Ride to the Wall motorcycle event being held at the Arboretum, at the National Memorial Arboretum, starting at 10:30 this morning. As a consequence of that, there's a lot of bike convoys making its way up towards Orrewas for the time being. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel on 08453 0022 88.
Friend or foe will share this dream.
And it is that man, Agbonlahor, Hall, who gives Aston Villa the lead.
Let rivalries return. Get behind your team.
Paul Downing puts Walsall 3-1 up.
You always need someone to share every moment. We'll be there till the season's end.
Great ball, Thomas, roof of the net, and Blues are in front.
Your club is our club. The goal horn awaits, my football friend.
The station for commentary this season.
BBC WM
95.6.
It's kind of a heavy start to the show. We can start drip feeding lighter stuff into the show, guys. Don't worry, I know it's always weird when you do something heavy and then you go to something incredibly flippant. I think we're mature enough to deal with it and not complain that it's too insensitive, okay? Because 3 hours of this, and listen, if that's the way you want to take it, you kind of drive this show almost as much as me and producer Joe. If that's where you want to take it, fine, we can go with that. Other stuff we can talk about later on in the show, though, we're going to be talking about accents. I am rubbish at doing accents. I can do a good South African. I can do a really good impression of Bob Dylan and David Bowie, I found out this morning. And I can do a good South African. I want to get on the slad, my lady. I want to have a gut on the slad. Good South African. I want to have a gut on the slad. My lady, I want to go on the slad. That's a good one. I've only learned to say my lady from the Oscar Pistorius trial. I know, isn't that terrible? I want to have a go on the slad, my lady. But I can't do it. So we're talking about accents. We're going to be talking about when have you been ripped off? What stuff have you been ripped off? And also, I want to tell a story that I thought was deliciously funny. And yet when I told it to producer Joe, she said, that's a horrible story. That's not funny. The one about the kid. I don't think I am evil. I saw something this week. I'll tell you after 10. I saw something this week that I thought was deliciously funny and was I just thought it was a wonderful, wonderful moment. And I have been told that I'm actually quite cruel. We'll talk about that. There's loads of stuff we can talk about as well. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. Also, things you don't like about your mum. Can we do that? I love my mum. Mums are brilliant, aren't they? I had to spend 2 days in close proximity with my mum, and it turns out there's actually quite a bit I don't like about her. There's quite a lot about my mum I find very, very irritating. So, while we're not demeaning mums and we're saying, mums, we love you, things about your mum that drive you up the wall. We'll be doing that later on. 03453 009956. But back to the situation in Iraq. And Mr. Henning, is he a hero? And do you feel scared? Elizabeth is in Erdington. Morning, Elizabeth.
Morning.
Are you scared?
Me? Am I scared? What can you do? I mean, no. Why should I be scared?
This is the thing. I'm aware and I'm cautious and I'm not naive enough to think that, that there aren't people who want to do bad things to us, but I'm not scared.
No, you can't be scared because this is what they're doing. It's a fear factor. They want to put fear. They're putting fear into people, and people are fearing. And yes, it ain't nice for that to happen.
Yep.
And like the other man said, it has not been nobody saying R.I.P. to that man and all the rest of them that has gone over there. And these cowards covered up, don't show their faces, can turn around and chop the heads off.
Well, again, just remember, guys.
They are cowards.
I know we have young ears listening, so let's be careful. Yeah, I know.
Sorry, apologise.
No, that's all right, Elizabeth. You're right. Yeah, take off your mask, big man. Let us see who you are. But I mean, we don't need to have people phoning up saying, "Oh, my condolences to the family." I think we can assume that that's pretty much taken. There's no one wishing the family ill.
It's sensitive. It's a very sensitive thing for anybody. People's angry in their own ways, and they make comments in their own ways, and they are free to do so.
Was he a hero?
But then was he a hero? He didn't go over there to be a hero.
No.
He went over there to help.
You can be a hero indirectly. I think that the most heroic are not those that go, do you know what, I'm going to go and do something heroic. It's those that just go and do it.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, thank you very much. I tell you another thing we don't need. Oh, this really gets on my nerves, right? Whenever there is an atrocity that is carried out by so-called Muslims, right, you'll always get people phoning up shows like this going, well, when are the British Muslims, when are the Muslim leaders going to come out and denounce this evil act? British Muslims and Muslim leaders are always coming out denouncing these evil acts. I feel sorry for the British Muslims and the Muslim leaders. Because every couple of weeks, every couple of months, they're having to come on shows like this or stations like this and say, well, we as leaders of the Muslim community are outraged by... They shouldn't have to come out and say it. No! They shouldn't have to come out and say it. They're always... Well, as a Muslim leader from Birmingham, I just want to say we are outraged by this, and this does not represent the Muslim people. We know it doesn't. It's only a handful of idiots that think it does represent the in inverted commas, normal Muslims, whatever that means. I'm sick and tired of Muslim leaders having to come out and denounce these horrific Muslim acts. I'm sick and tired of it. 03453 00995. It really does wind me up. Yeah, when are they going to come out and denounce this? They denounce it every time. Joe's in Perry Bar. Good morning, Joe.
Hey, Ian, how you doing?
I'm calmer now, Joe, thank you. What would you like to say?
I was just going to say, I think the guy's a hero. I'm quite surprised with some of the response you're getting from some of the people.
Jay says he was stupid. Elliot says he asked for it, and Malcolm said he was a fool.
I think these are people who just don't have the courage to go out there and do things like this themselves. If you think about it, right, are you going to blame British Red Cross every time they go out to a dangerous location and it's their way to get kidnapped and murdered? You know, they're just doing their job. They're just trying to help people. So I'm actually quite surprised by the response that you're getting. And, I mean, going back to your point about why people actually watch this video, I've not actually watched any of these videos myself. However, I've actually watched one quite a while back, the Ken Bigley one.
Yeah. That was about 9-10 years ago, wasn't it, Ken Bigley, I think?
Yeah, it was. Why did I watch it? I watched it out of curiosity, and it's something I regret watching. The reason I watched it was because, well, it's plastered all over the media, and they'll show you, the video right up until it happens. How can you not expect people to be slightly curious about what happens next, sort of thing?
What were you hoping to... It's interesting you said you regret it, and we'll come to that in a second, but what were you hoping to see? Because you knew what happened.
Yeah, it's one thing when you hear what happens. When you've not seen it yourself, 9-10 years ago, I'll be honest with you, I was early teens, so it was purely out of curiosity, and it wasn't something I searched for. It was something that was sent to me. And, going back to my point about me regretting it, yeah, I regretted it because it's something I'll still remember now. But it also, I mean, if you think about the shooting that happened in America, where that young girl, she was in a firing range and she shot the instructor.
Oh, she was like an 8-year-old girl. She was in a firing range with something like an AK-47, and it was too powerful, and she turned around and shot the guy that was training her.
That's right, and I mean, I know a few people who have watched it. When you ask them, why did you watch it, it's because on the media, they've shown you the whole thing right up until the point. I mean, even when the gun turns towards the instructor, right up until he gets shot. You're bound to get people who are curious. It's a natural instinct. It's going to happen.
It's an instinct that I don't have. And you're right, maybe it's an age thing. I'm trying to think, if the internet had been around when I was 17, 18, 19 and I was a different human being, then maybe I would have been curious. As a 41-year-old father of two, I don't need to see an 8-year-old girl shooting a man with an AK-47. I don't need to see an aid worker being murdered. I don't need to see those things. I know they exist, I know they happened, and that's good enough.
And I think you made a point before about the media putting this online so you can create wars. I agree with that 100%. I don't think it's governments that start wars. I think it's the media who start wars. They can control what you see, what you believe, or what you want to support. Yeah, I think...
Joe, listen, I appreciate your points. I'm moving on because I want to squeeze in Phil before the top of the hour. Morning, Phil.
Good morning.
What do you reckon? Alan Henning, was he a hero?
He was a hero, and I cannot believe how disgusted I am, really, that people are calling him a fool. He's a bloke who had principles, and he got off his backside, and he actually did something about it. And you've got to commend that. You don't call them fools. This is a man who's got morals beyond most people, really. I'll tell you what I did. I went on Facebook this morning. I changed my profile picture to a smiling picture of him, and I put on why, because for me, you have to honour people like this, and that every British person should be proud of.
Here's something you've just said a word, Phil, that I've been searching for all morning, and you've said it. Principles. He had principles. He believed in something, and this is what I think a lot of people. I don't think I have this. He believed in something so much that he put his life at risk to go and follow his principles.
How dare people call him a fool? How dare they? You know, they want to get off their backsides and do something. Don't just criticise people for doing what they believed in. Terrible.
Phil, thank you very much indeed. Principles, that's the word. That's the word I've been searching for, and I didn't even realise I was searching for it. Phil, thank you. 03453 009956. A fool, a bit stupid, and asking for it. That's what some of you have said this morning about Alan Henning. A man, 47-year-old man, who gave up being a taxi driver to go and help kids in a war zone. A fool, a bit stupid, and asked for it. 03453 009956. Listen, we can carry on talking about that. We can carry on taking your calls. I know there are lots of you that want to have your say on this. I'm just aware it's a Saturday morning. The weather's a bit miserable, which I like. I love the weather when it's like this. This is it now. We're in winter, and I love it. It's grey, it's cold, it's damp, beautiful. But to talk about this for 3 hours could perhaps be a little bit, how do I say this without being disrespectful? It could be a little bit draining for 3 hours. We can talk about it. You can still call in about it. I'd love to speak to someone who has seen one of these videos. So we just spoke to one caller who saw the Ken Bigley video about 10 years ago. I'm trying to think, if I'd have been 17 now, when the internet is ripe for the plucking, maybe I would have watched it. Maybe it's a maturity thing. I was going to say age, but it's not quite age, is it? Maybe it's a maturity thing. 03453 009956. Other things we're going to talk about this morning, though. Can I just throw out a load of old nonsense and see if any of this sticks to the wall? Yeah, why the hell not? Things you don't like about your mum. I love this one. I spent 2 days with my mum in close proximity. It's the longest time I've spent with her, that close, for ages. And I loved it, and it was great, and we had a right old laugh, and she was in hospital, and we were laughing out loud. I was reading a book to her, and we were laughing out loud. We drew the curtain around the bed thinking no one would hear us. There was a lot of bad language in this book as well. Heaven knows what those poor old dears next to us must have thought. Anyway, we had a great time. But, she didn't half get on my nerves. She really gets on my nerves. She forgets that she's told you a story. So you'll hear the same story a dozen times in the space of an hour. And there's only so many times you can go, yeah, Mum, you've told me that. You kind of, I found myself nodding, going, oh, right, yeah, OK, this is a story about Uncle George all over again. Things that annoy you about your mum. 03453 009956. Also, have you ever been in a theatre or on an aeroplane when someone has said, is there a doctor in the house? Ever been tempted to put your hand up? I would love to. If you're a doctor, have you ever been called upon in an emergency situation? Is there a doctor in the house? And things about your mum that get right on your nerves. And to be honest, anything else you fancy calling in about, I think that the next 2 hours are going to be a little bit bumpy, shall we say? Yes, bumpy and fresh.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
Hey up, Chuck, it's 10 o'clock. Let's get the news now. Here's Kevin Pashby.
Good morning. The Prime Minister is vowing to hunt down the Islamic State extremist responsible for the murder of the British aid worker Alan Henning. A video showing the beheading of the 47-year-old taxi driver from Salford in Greater Manchester was released last night. The jihadist who killed Mr Henning is thought to be a British national who's carried out previous beheadings. Evan Lawrence is a security and counter-terrorism specialist at Staffordshire University. He says the government needs to change the strategy to find the killers.
The airstrikes are being fairly effective, but it's only a short-term solution. That the airstrikes are going to be effective in the short term, but we need a long-term solution and a long-term goal of how to deal with ISIS, and that's inevitably going to involve boots on the ground. There's no easy solution to Syria. There's no cheap solution to Syria. There's no short-term solution, and I think that holds for Iraq and Afghanistan as well.
There's been reaction from across the world. President Obama has strongly condemned the killing. Kalsoon Bashir of the Inspire Foundation, a human rights and counter-terrorism organisation, she's been talking to Iain Lee on BBC WM this morning about the images being shown in the papers today.
It's a very slick PR machine that they have there. They know that such images will put fear into people, and that's their aim, really. We don't know the extent of their force or their power, but some images will instill that fear into people internationally.
David Cameron's been briefed by intelligence and security officials and is expected to make a statement in the next hour. At the end of the video, the killer threatens another hostage, an American named Peter Kasich. Other news this morning now, and students in Birmingham are planning to protest later as the unrest continues in Hong Kong. Police say they've arrested 19 people, including some suspected members of triad gangs who are accused of attacking pro-democracy protesters. The police have been defending themselves against accusations of bias against the protesters. Back here, students will gather in Birmingham to show their support. Janice Wu has been talking to BBC WM to say why she'll be taking part.
In Hong Kong, they're fighting for the democracy, and we really hope that we can raise more people to know about this issue and help us to get this democracy successful.
A woman from Sweden has become a mum after receiving a womb transplant. Doctors performed an emergency caesarean when she was 31 weeks pregnant. She was one of 9 women who received donor wombs in a 2-year study. Professor Mats Brandström from the University of Gothenburg and Stockholm led the research.
We really couldn't believe that we had reached this moment. She has the option, if it's safe for her, to try for another pregnancy. And the baby has been fine all the time and is breastfeeding and growing as it should.
And the Liberal Democrats are voting this weekend on plans to spend an extra £1 billion on the NHS if they win the next election. Party members are expected to approve the policy at their annual conference in Glasgow, which starts today. Sport now, and West Bromwich Albion aim for a 4th successive win when they play Liverpool at Anfield later. It's the first of 2 commentary games here on BBC WM, starting at 3 this afternoon. Aston Villa will hope to repeat their shock win over Manchester City last season when the teams meet at Villa Park this evening. That'll be live from 5:30. Wolves start the day just 2 points behind leaders in the Championship. They're at home to Wigan. They'll be aiming to make up for their poor performance against Huddersfield on Wednesday when they missed the chance to go top of the table. The Wolves head coach Kenny Jackett says it's a very competitive division, so even though Wigan come to Molineux in the bottom 4, they can still challenge for promotion.
Points total is really what counts at this stage, and it's very close, and it's on for a number of teams to still be able to make a run and have a good season. And Wigan are one of those with the playing squad that they have that will feel they're capable of doing well in this division.
Also later, Blues travel to South London for the second time in a week, this time to face unbeaten Charlton, and the Walsall manager Dean Smith is quietly confident they can become the first team this season to beat League One leaders Bristol City at the Banks's Stadium this afternoon. Taking a look at the weather, wet with some heavy downpours this morning. It should dry up this afternoon with highs reaching 15 Celsius, that's 59 Fahrenheit. It should be dry overnight, turning chilly with lows down to 5 Celsius, 41 Fahrenheit. Sunday's looking chilly but sunny. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
Morning, dear listener. This is Iain Lee, BBC WM 95.6. Where are we now? 5 minutes past 10. We can carry on the discussions about Alan Henning, hero or not. Loads of you said he was a fool, bit stupid, and was asking for it. That makes me uncomfortable. And are you scared? We had one caller said they were scared. I'm not. Am I naive? I'm not scared. I'm not worried. I'm not nervous. I don't know what I am, actually, at the thought of something happening in this country. 03453 009956. But as the show kind of moves into slightly calmer waters, you can call in about anything. Call in about anything you want. We'll be speaking to a lady later on who was scammed online. An internet scam? What? Also, is there a doctor in the house? Ever been in a theatre or on an aeroplane and someone's gone, is there a doctor in the house? My father-in-law's a doctor. My first question whenever I meet my first two questions whenever I meet a doctor are, have you ever been somewhere when they said, is there a doctor in the house? Nearly all doctors have. My second question is, have you ever had to perform a tracheotomy with a biro? I know. A lot of them have. You can answer that one as well. 03453. In fact, why should I say the number? Let's let this man do it.
Have your say. Across the West Midlands, call
03453
009956.
BBC WM 95.6.
Also, things that irritate you about your mum. We all love our mums, don't we? No one's so heartless they couldn't love their mums. We all love our mums, but they can be so, irritating. So, bearing in mind that you love your mum, we'll take that as read. What is it about your mum that irritates you? 03453 009956. Debbie's on the line. Morning, Debbie.
Good morning.
What irritates you about your mum?
Right. Well, first of all, when I used to live at home, I'm now 48. When I used to live at home, me and my mum did not get on at all. I love her to bits now, and we get on absolutely fine now once I moved out.
That quite often happens, doesn't it? You have to be separate from each other to kind of realise, actually, do you know what? She's all right.
Yeah, precisely. But one of the things at home, she always used to have a look.
Oh.
Having all mum's got a look.
Yeah.
Well, now I'm older, and I'm a mother myself. I challenge that look sometimes, and I say, "What's the matter with you?"
Oh.
Nothing.
Oh.
And that really gets my goat.
Because there is something wrong with her.
Yeah. And you have to go through 1,001 questions to find out what it is.
Hang on, though, Debbie. Let me speak. Can we speak freely and openly here, like friends?
Yeah, go on then.
Isn't that all women? And I don't. No, because I have the same thing with my wife and other women that have been in my life, where they've obviously got a right cob on about something, right? They're really mardy, and you go, "What's wrong?" Nothing. And you think, oh, for crying out loud, we're going to be playing this game for the next 2 days. And then about 36 hours later, they go, right, listen, I'm really unhappy with the way you did this. Well, why didn't you tell me that when I first asked? And then we wouldn't have had 2 days of me creeping around on tiptoe trying not to upset you.
No, I would disagree with that. I agree. I think that's a person thing, because my husband does that. So, no, I'm sorry, but it's not a woman thing.
I think...
I am sorry. I cannot disagree.
I notice... I'm getting a tone in your voice, Debbie. I think, with the greatest respect, I think you're the problem here. Not your mum, not your husband. I think it might be you, Debbie.
Oh, dear. I don't know whether I can ever ring you again now.
Hey, Debbie, let me try and calm things out. Can I read you a story that I found in The Sun today? This is nuts, OK? This is nuts. Oh, gosh, the headline as well. Bang, and mash. Oh, dear, I've just... Spud used as contraceptive. A woman was rushed to hospital after a potato she was using as a contraceptive sprouted roots inside her. The unnamed woman, 22, was told that the vegetable would stop her getting pregnant. So basically, and young ears, let's phrase this as delicately as I can, she'd shoved a potato up there to stop her getting pregnant. Dear. Is that not the most insane thing you've ever heard?
Yeah, just about, yeah.
It was...
Oh, God.
Imagine.
Oh, I'm cringing now. I've got my legs crossed.
Debbie, thank you very much. That took a little while to... It was inside her... Morning, guys, if you're having a late breakfast. It was inside her for 2 weeks before it germinated in what's described here as the warm conditions. She said of her mum who told her this, I believed her. What? of all the crazy things in the world, and we do often hear myths, don't we, about how to stop pregnancy and how to stop having babies and stuff. I can't. If you're talking to me, producer Joe, I can't hear you. We do hear myths, don't we? Well, if you do it on a Thursday. If you do it after a cold shower, if you do it in the living, all these weird kind of myths. Oh, look, a lovely cup of tea's arrived. Thank you. About how to not get pregnant. A potato up there? Really? That's the weirdest, isn't it? 03453 009956 is the telephone number. Should you wish to give us are any of those? Do you remember? Do you remember? There's all these wives' tales, aren't there? About you can tell if you want to have a boy. There isn't. If you want to have a boy, you have to. Oh gosh, I have to be so careful. You have to be in a certain position. I think there are certain days of the week where you're more likely to have boys than girls. And then there's that thing about having the wedding ring dangling, the divining. Oh, I've been just told, I can't even repeat that. Don't say things in my ear, producer Joe, that I cannot repeat on the radio. Oh, dearie me. 03453 009956. I'm always happy to open the box, there's an unfortunate phrase, on the world of old wives' tales. Always happy for a bit of that. 03453 009956. Right, back to Alan Henning. It seems a little crass, but you'll understand this is how this show works, and you'll get that sometimes the gear change can be a little bit clunky. Simon's in Cradley. Morning, Simon.
Hi, mate. You're right.
Cradley, what would you like to say?
The potatoes just thrown me, to be fair.
I think it's thrown me. And I've just seen the headline, Banger and Mash, please. Who in their right mind would think that a potato would do the job?
It'd be medieval times.
Well, this happened now, though. This was a 22-year-old woman now.
I'm just shuffling over.
Anyway, go on. You've not called in about that. What would you like to say?
Yeah, about Alan Henning. I don't think that he was a hero in terms of a lot of people, like your viewers now.
Yeah.
He was a hero for what he believed in himself. But I think he may have been a little bit naive as well, going over there.
Yeah, naive. I'll buy naive.
Only for the reason that the people who he worked with, I think, spurred him on to do it. And he must have thought, well, all these people here who I work with, who a majority of them were Muslims as well, and he must have thought, well, I'm safe. These are my friends. I can get along. I'll be okay. I think he may have been a little more...
How do you know that, Simon?
No, I don't. I'm just saying that's my view.
Okay, yeah.
That's my view.
By saying that, and let's explore that for a second, you're kind of... The implication is... that it was others that encouraged him to do it, and he was incapable of making a decision on his own.
No, he weren't incapable at all. I mean, he's a big man and done what he done, and fair play to him for doing it. But I think he may have believed he was safe when he was going into a war zone. I think he may have.
Would anybody think they were safe going into a war zone? No one could be that naive, could they? And think, do you know what, I'm going to be 100% safe. I mean, he probably had that thought, well, nothing's going to happen to me. The odds of it are really, really slim. I can buy that.
Yeah, I think that's where it's coming down to.
Can you believe that some people have called him a fool, a bit stupid, and that he asked for it?
No one asks for that. Nobody. Stupid, no, because he weren't stupid. He was obviously a clever bloke. I just think he was maybe a little bit naive.
I'll give you naive. Yeah, I'll give you that as again. We don't know. We don't know the full picture. Thank you, Simon. We don't know the full picture. But yeah, possibly naive. We do all have that thing. It won't happen to me. It eases up that feeling of immortality as you get older. Trust me, kids. But you do. It won't happen. I'll be all right. I'll probably be all right. It won't happen to me. But it did happen. A fool, a bit stupid. Asked for it? Those words, can they really describe Alan Henning? Not from me, they're from some of you. They're from people listening to this show. I appreciate the fact that they're being honest and saying things that others may find uncomfortable, but I don't buy into it. 03453 009956. Other stuff we're talking about is that we all love our mums, but things that annoy you about your mum. And is there a doctor in the house? 10:15, it's BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the travel. Here's Matthew.
Weather-wise this morning, not particularly good. Take care, please, if you're out and about. The motorway is suffering with disruption this morning as well. The M6 busy northbound passing Stafford, 13 up towards 14, a lane closed in force of barrier repairs, leaving nasty queues back towards junction 12. That in itself is seeing some problems as well. 2 sets of weekend works to be aware of. Firstly, the M6 northbound entry slip road is closed at junction 12, and the M54 eastbound exit slip road at junction 2 is closed as well. As a consequence of those two works, I think the A5 and the A449 will see a bit more traffic than usual. Don't forget those works around the Quinton direction, Hagley Road west by Wolverhampton Road. It's been busy as you head past the Amber Tavern lights this morning. West Mercia Police are dealing with problems in Druids Lane. Druids Lane itself is closed by Chelworth Road. That'll cause problems for Kings Norton traffic. In Sutton Coldfield, just by Sutton Park, the National Road Relay Championship is on today. Seeing a bit more queues also around Aston as well, for Aston Bridge being closed for those works just on the flyover. That'll cause some disruptions. You also head, of course, from around the sort of Dartmouth Circus direction. And, of course, around Smethwick, it's been busy with the closures around the mosque. They should be lifting now after Eid celebrations, but just watch out for a bit more traffic than usual. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 on 08453 0022 88.
On your marks, get set, bake.
It's the final week of the Great British Bake Off, and the oven gloves are off.
Don't expect winning to be a piece of cake.
I think they're fairly uniform, apart from that one.
Half-baked ideas just won't cut it.
I don't think it matters, to be honest. Don't tell Paul that.
At this stage, good enough just isn't good enough.
My layers of mascarpone are uneven. They're going to notice that.
Oh, we'll notice, all right.
With just 3 bakers left, the heat is on high. The Great British Bake Off, the final, on Wednesday night at 8 on BBC One and BBC One HD.
Really? Oh dear. Do you know what? I used to be addicted. Here comes a donut. Wowzers. Both for me. That's so. What? Well, okay. Well, I'll take one. Flippin' heck. Thank you very much indeed. That's a naughty little boy, isn't it? Right. I used to watch so much television, used to love it, and used to think that those people that didn't watch television were fruitcakes, freaks, and in many ways perverted. I don't really watch telly now. I hardly watch it at all. The Great British Bake Off, I don't get, don't understand, don't like. Strictly, that's on tonight. Oh, for goodness sakes. The X Factor, I've not watched that in 10 years. I watched a bit of a film on my computer last night, The Excellent Frank, and that's it. I just don't watch telly. 03453 009956. It's one of those shows where we're kind of going back and forth between the incredibly serious and horrific and the ridiculous. There will be a few clunky gear changes. Bear with us while we do that. Sometimes that's just the way it works, isn't it? And again, it's, as I always like to say, that's how conversations work sometimes, isn't it? You'll be talking about something, you'll be talking about grandma dying at home, and then you'll suddenly see the cat's done a poo on the kitchen floor. Do you know what I mean? You guess the conversations like that happen. You'll be talking about something horrible, and then you'll go off into something ridiculous, and that's kind of how this show is working. Things that annoy you about your mum, please. I spent 2 days in the company of my mother this week. It was wonderful, it was delightful. It also did my flipping head in. She is nuts. How many times do I need to hear the same story? She also keeps getting my sister's name wrong. She keeps calling my sister Pauline. That's my aunt. Go, Mum, oh, yeah, anyway, so Pauline came over. No, she didn't. That was... So let's take it as read that we love our mums. But do let me know things that annoy you about your mum, please. 03453 009956. And this is a punt. This is a real punt, OK? I'm putting this out there, and we may get no calls on it whatsoever, but I'm really hoping if we get one call, I'll be happy. Is there a doctor in the house? Ever been in the theatre or on an aeroplane where someone has rushed to the front of the stage, or if it's a theatre, the front of the stage, that was a joke, and said, I'm really sorry, is there a doctor on board? Has that ever happened? Have you been that doctor? And here's something. Again, we'll get no phone calls on this, but I just like the thought of this sentence I'm about to say. Ever pretended to be a doctor? Because the temptation would be, wouldn't it? Yeah, I am. What are you doing? What are you doing? Put your hand down. I've always wanted to do this. Trust me, it'll be all right. It'll be nothing serious. Put your hand down, you're not... He's pretending to be a doctor. 03... I know, we'll probably get no calls on that. And that's not really how you're supposed to do a phone-in show, but the thought appeals to me. So, ever been somewhere where they've called for a doctor in the house? Ever put your hand up and pretended to be said doctor? 03453 009956. Barry's in Tamworth. Morning, Barry.
Morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
I watch your Family Guy, do you?
Sorry?
Family Guy.
Family Guy, the cartoon series? What? Barry?
Yeah, you're talking about television, hello?
Hello, Barry?
Yeah,
Let's start again.
Yeah.
OK, right, here we go. 03453 009956. Right, let's go to... Oh, Barry's in Tamworth. Morning, Barry.
Morning, Ian.
What would you like to say, boss?
Well, what I'd like to say is about, people being frightened or scared, right?
Yeah.
Like you just said, you're not bothered, right? I don't think, like, I'm not bothered. I don't think Daz is bothered. I don't think you're... No, I don't think 99.999% of the British public are really concerned about. What we're concerned about, what everybody's concerned about, the way things are, is paying the gas bills, the electric bills, the mortgage, etc., etc., keeping the wolf from the door.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all you hear people talk about, isn't it? Well, apart from the weather, like.
Yeah.
And Strictly Come Dancing and the
flipping
Great British Bake Off.
Strictly Come Dancing, the Great British Bake Off. What a load of old tosh they both are, aren't they?
I don't know. I don't watch them. I don't like you, like the X Factor. I mean, I watched a bit of that the other week just to see, like how it panned out. And there's that, and it's more adverts than it is.
Isn't the X Factor the reason I stopped watching the X Factor? Right, and I used to like it. The first couple of series, I used to like it, and then I worked out what it was that I was laughing at. In the first few weeks, you're laughing at mentally ill people, aren't you? You're laughing at mentally ill people who have been told by an 18-something researcher that they have got real talent, they're in with a real chance of making it through to the final, so they should definitely go through to the next stage. And these people they should be, a lot of them, they should be at home with a carer. And I don't say that flippantly.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I mean... I don't watch it, but I'll tell you what, in some way, you've got to give some of these people a bit of respect, for having the bottle to get up on the stage, because I don't think, I just know I won't have the bottle to stand up in front of the hundreds of people, and perform like that.
Isn't it funny, because you're saying we should give these people a little bit of respect for having the bottle to stand up on stage in the X Factor.
Well, it is,
and yet, but hang on a second, but loads of people have given Alan Henning a load of stick for having the bottle to go over to Syria and protect loads of sick kids. Barry, you've unintentionally stumbled on what's the problem with this country, is that people like Alan Henning we don't regard as heroes, yet nut jobs that go on the X Factor and are brave enough to sing despite the fact their mum died of cancer 5 years ago, we consider them to be heroes.
The thing is, like, the people calling Alan Henning a fool and etc. But I tell you what, if people never took risk, if we never sort of went out of a way to help fellow human beings, where would we be?
Barry, thank you very much indeed. He's unintentionally stumbled across the great truth of Britain. We don't regard Alan Henning as a hero because he was a bit of a fool. He was a bit stupid. He was asking for it. Those are direct quotes from some of the listeners to the show this morning, right? Not a hero. But when a young, talented singer whose mum died of cancer 6 years ago and their little boy's got a broken leg, when they go on and they sing a song by Snow Patrol, they are so heroic and brave! They do, don't they? The Coldplay music kicks in. And this is a real hero. And this is the problem with this country, is we've got it totally skewed as to what being a hero means. It's not some plum going and standing in front of a multi-millionaire and a load of fruitcake singing. That's not heroic. That's not heroic. There's nothing heroic about that. And I'm right, aren't I? The first few episodes of The X Factor, it's bedlam. It's literal bedlam. It's the old-fashioned Victorian freak show. We're laughing at mentally ill people who can barely string a sentence together, and yet they think they sound like Darius Dinesh. No, hang on, not Darius Dinesh. No, I mean Elvis Presley. That's what they think, because they've been told they do by the researchers who work on the X Factor. 03453 009956.
Penn, Pensnet,
Rugeley, Redditch,
Rowley Regis.
Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM.
Now,
95.6.
Thank you, sir. Now, the internet, I hate to warn you guys, it really is full of dodgepots, scammers and pirates. Ever been caught out on the internet with one of those? No one buys into those emails anymore, do they, from Nigerian princes? I've got $85 million. You can have 10% of it if you just give me your bank account details. No one falls for that anymore, do they? No, of course not. What about buying tickets? Ever been caught out that way? Well, during yesterday's show, that's right, but producer Joe and myself are here every Friday between 2 and 4. We had a phone call from Hazel. Well, we didn't have time to fit her on the show yesterday, but we're speaking to her today. Good morning, Hazel.
Morning.
What happened to you?
Well, I got had over, and I'm not a stupid lady.
No.
I, in a desperate situation, to see the lovely, lovely Kate Bush.
Kate Bush.
Has not promoted it for 35 years.
Yeah.
We all went into the jitters within minutes of her putting herself out there. Her tickets sold within minutes. And obviously I'm a busy lady and I don't normally get them on time anyway.
No.
Yes. So I always get my tickets a bit later. I thought the people who want to sell them on.
Oh, I see. So you don't go direct. You don't necessarily go direct to the seller. You quite often go to some of these other websites where people are selling their tickets because they've got too many, or some of these websites are indeed modern day ticket touts.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually usually genuine, and sometimes you get them cheaper, sometimes you pay a little bit more, and you usually get in. But the way that Kate Bush kind of sold her concert, it was a way that you had to have ID. It was even bigger and more closed than Glastonbury.
Wowzers.
So he kind of printed a ticket to ride for all the scammers to make quite a lot of money, including all the ticket touts.
Yeah.
Some of her tickets were going up over the £1,000 mark, and I heard higher, basically.
Wowzers. Who'd pay £1,000 to go and see Kate Bush, who, let's be honest, is a little bit rubbish?
Well, it's not really, because a lot of people did.
Oh, blimey.
And some more, I heard, if it could have been guest list, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who've heard that.
Well, my sister went.
Did she?
Yeah.
Did she like it?
She did love it, actually, yeah.
Well, this is it. And the fact is she only did 22 dates, so it was,
So you went online to buy... Had you bought tickets from this website before?
Well, apparently it's called Gumtree.
Well, okay. Well, we don't need to know the disc, but Gumtree is just one of those... It's fine. Let me just clear Gumtree from this, though. Gumtree is one of those places where people go and advertise that they've got stuff to give away or to sell. So it's not Gumtree's responsibility, it's the people that are on there.
OK, fine.
OK, and how much did you pay for your tickets?
For 2 tickets, really under market value, £400.
What?
Yeah.
£400? What, for both tickets?
That's cheap, really, 2 tickets. So I should have seen that there was a flaw in the system anyway, because 1 ticket from a ticket out was selling for £600.
Yeah. Oh, mate. OK, so you paid the £400 to go and see Kate Bush.
Mm-hmm.
What happened, Hazel?
Well, just to get to the point, because I know you've got a whole show to run, I found her online, as you say, Gumtree. She did all the conversation. I drove all the way down to London, met her in Oxford Circus, did the dirty deal, handed the cash over, not very quickly, had a nice quiet drink with her, did say to her, how do I know this isn't a scam?
Good question. That will certainly wheedle out any scammers. She must have started sweating then.
Not at all.
Oh.
But get to the point, she took me all the way. Me and my sister drove down on the final night of Kate Bush Wednesday.
She took you to the concert?
Sorry?
She took you to the concert?
Well, no. We were to meet her at the church, of course, the religious place where good people go, where there was a VIP reception where we were meant to meet her, to find not only us there, but possibly the other 20, say 12 we met off, who were all sitting with the same ticket and the same scam. And we were all stood at the door like lemons trying to get in.
Oh, no, Hazel.
It's a sad day, but my point is not about the scammer, really. My point is, because I've been had before, and dare I mention names like eBay, Lloyd's, and all the big players.
Yeah, hey, let's not try to libel any other big companies that've got excellent lawyers, shall we, guys?
Okay, fine, yeah.
You have a little sip of that tea, go on.
Yes, I was having a coffee, yeah.
Hang on a minute, Hazel, I've got tea, hang on a second.
Have a sip of tea, look.
Can I have a little bite of my donut?
Go ahead. Shall I carry on talking?
Hazel, you carry on. I'm going to have a little bit of a chocolate donut. Go on.
So the point is, we all lost out because of the scam, but I think it's not about the lady running around London who's got the money. It's about how this is allowed to carry on, and people like us fall into the trap.
So whose fault is it? It's not your fault. It's not the lady's fault. Whose fault is it?
Well, it's the way that the promoters, the Ticketmasters... By the way, she said she worked for Ticketmaster. Dare I mention all these...
Well, again, there's another company. I'd rather you didn't for the third time.
Okay, fine.
Yeah, OK. You said that before, and then you just mentioned Ticketmaster.
OK.
That's fine. So you're not saying it's Kate Bush's fault, are you?
Well, I'd like Kate Bush to know about it, to see what's happened, because why should we lose out because of these people?
But why? But it's not. But Kate Bush has got nothing to do with it.
Hasn't she? It's her concert.
Yeah. And she did her part of the deal was she would go on and screech for 2.5 hours.
Did your sister say she screeched?
I've never been a Kate Bush fan, apart from the Babushka video. That's it. But she went on and screeched. She did her bit. She did her side of the deal.
Okay.
Do you not think?
Ish. Yes, she did. She created a monster in the way that she promoted the concert, that you had to do this, which allowed people to realise it's a bit like the iPhone 6 has just come out. Dare I mention that name
there
as
you
well?
go again. That's another company.
Can't get it,
yeah.
So the scammers jump on it.
Yeah. Okay. God blimey.
So my point is,
yes.
so we're in a loss. But the thing is, let's change the subject again. This lady has taken 2 photographs of these girls, very clear photographs. And I'd like to sort of do a campaign to catch these girls, because I've used the police before when I was scammed before.
Yeah.
It goes so far, you get the sergeant on the case.
Yeah, that's the police.
And it gets nowhere. I've had bikes stolen, you catch the culprit, do I get compensation? No.
What compensation do you want for having... Did you get your bike back?
No bite back, no money,
right.
and
is Kate Bush responsible for your bike being stolen?
Sorry?
Is Kate Bush responsible for your bike being stolen?
No, it's not about the bike being stolen.
No.
I'm just talking about how the police will deal with this.
Right.
They'll go so far with police time and nothing will come of it. We've got 2 photographs of 2 girls.
Yeah.
We've got the internet. We've got Facebook. We've got the media. I'd like to see how many other people were scammed by these 2 girls and others who are doing it. OK, it's not Kate Bush's fault. But it's the point of...
She should be speaking up for you guys.
Well, I think she should have an interest in what happened, because we're not talking hundreds of pounds. Mine's only the 1,400. There was probably 3 grand's worth standing outside the door.
But it could be argued, Hazel. We're all told that we shouldn't buy tickets off of hooky sites, not that Gumtree is, or individuals. That's the risk we're taking when we buy those tickets.
Of course, I agree with that. Yeah.
I tell you what, Hazel. Can I put this out to the listener?
Yeah.
03453 009956. Let me put this out to the listener, OK? Whose fault do you think it is? Is it Kate Bush's fault, or is it Hazel's fault for being a little naive?
And the other people. But I'd like to know how many people. If you're going to put this out, put it out big.
OK, let's put it out big.
I think there's not just one. No. I don't think there's 10. I think there's hundreds.
Wow.
And if we can get some campaign, it's not Kate Bush's fault, maybe it's not Gumtree, these other people's sites' fault.
You said it again,
it's the point that we've got to get it out there. This has got to stop going on with the big players, because it's been going on for too long, and you're not telling me with social media that this can't be stopped.
Oh, well, maybe it can. We need sorry, I'm still eating my donut.
Carry on.
Thank you. We need a catchy name for this campaign.
I've got it already. The Kate Bush Scam Society. I want to see how many people come forward. I want to see how many people got done, and I want to see how many thousands of pounds. And OK, it might not be... Can I mention the names, did you say?
I'd rather not. No, 4 times I've asked you not to, so probably best...
OK, the big sites that advertise these places, how are they going to put a stop to them allowing these fraudsters to go on their sites without IDs, without any credit checking, and get away with it? And then it's been going on for too long. There must be a way of putting a stop to this. And stupid... I can accept I've lost a bit of money, but we're talking thousands on this one occasion because of the way the concert was sold. It created a monster of scamming. I bet there's thousands of pounds. And I want to see how many people come forward on this. And they can join our campaign to expose the girls and expose anybody else who's out there.
And breathe.
and breathe.
So what's it called? The Kate Bush Scammers Association?
No, the Kate Scammers Society, KBSS. That's my name, but if anybody else wants to come forward and put it, and if anybody wants to link, and let's get this big. We've got 2 photographs. Is there any way of putting them on a Facebook site?
Yeah, you can put them on your Facebook site.
Can we not put them through the WM site?
Probably not.
No.
Well, no. The reason if we did that, because then we might, these women might, we might get in trouble. So no, but you put them on your Facebook site. So the Kate Bush Scammers Society.
For one, because we've all been
Scammed by Kate Bush.
By that particular concert. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I tell you what, Hazel, we're going to put this out. Okay. Well, first of all, the first thing is, whose fault do you think this is, dear listener? Is it Kate Bush's or is it Hazel's? 03453 009956. And like you say, Hazel, let's make this big.
Make it big. Yeah.
No, I'm going to make it big now. Have you been caught out in the Great Kate? But you can. Oh, that's better. The Great Kate Bush Scammers Society. 03453 009956. Hazel, can we talk to you next week and just see how things are going?
Yeah, because I'll have other women who.
Beautiful.
I don't know if your producer's going to call the other lady. She might talk differently on her experience.
Hopefully she won't libel anybody. Yes.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'll leave that one with you.
Brilliant. Hazel, nice to talk to you. We'll speak to you next week. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call. Whose fault is it? I'll be honest. I've bought tickets for concerts from hooky websites. I've always been all right. Have I been lucky? 4th row for Prince. I was in the 4th row of a Prince concert. I was singing Little Red Corvette so loudly that I put him off. And he gave me a dirty look, and my wife nudged me and went, "Here, look, Prince is giving you a dirty look." 03453 009956. Let's talk about Hazel. Have you got any sympathy for her at all?
Literally, a doctor is at the back of this corridor here assessing one of the patients because there's nowhere to see them elsewhere.
No wonder people get annoyed when they're waiting. I can't wait to get home.
On Inside Out, bed shortages, treatments in corridors and the same patients with the same problems. That's a typical day at A&E.
This ambulance queue here obviously doesn't stop. We haven't got the senior staff because, like I say, we have a shortage of ED registrars.
12 months on from our last visit to A&E, are staff meeting their 4-hour waiting time target? That's all on Inside Out, Monday 7:30 on BBC One.
Just putting this on Twitter. Has Kate Bush ever ripped you off? At BBC WM. Let's see what feedback we get. Scott Balcony has tweeted, Kate Bush once tricked me into updating her Oyster card. Gosh. We could be onto something here. Let's find Bush. 03453 009956. Any sympathy at all for Helen in that, or is she just a little bit naive? Brian's in Willenhall. Morning, Brian.
Good morning, Iain.
Before we go on to talk about the slightly more serious issue of Alan Henning, your thoughts on Helen, who you just heard there. Any sympathy for her?
In a way, yes, but I don't get involved in anything like that. I know very little about these things. I can't comment.
Has Kate Bush ever ripped you off?
No.
Are you a fan of Kate Bush?
No.
Actually, I don't get her. I think she's rubbish.
I don't know the lady at all.
She sang, Heathcliff, it's me, Kathy, I've come home and I'm so cold, let me in and I'm so cold.
Has somebody just caught you in an inappropriate place?
That's Kate Bush.
Oh, I thought somebody had caught hold of you.
She also sang, Babushka, 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 yay, yay.
I didn't know you also spoke Russian.
Yeah, well, and she sang, I'm running up a hill, I'm going up a hill, I'm running up a hill, oh yeah, a hill. Not a fan of hers?
No, just stick to your day job, Iain.
Okay, Brian, thanks very much. Okay, you've called in about Alan Henning. What would you like to say?
I would just like to, first of all, express my deepest sympathies to Alan Henning's family for the abhorrent way that he was executed. What I really want to say is I admire and respect anybody that does the thing that he does by going out and helping people. But what you must remember, you see these what he calls little babies, and he's taking nappies to them, and children 4, 5, 6 years of age, covered in flies, covered in snot. In 10 years' time, they'll chop your head off.
Guys? Guys, anyone? Where's my fruitcake alarm? No, I've not brought it with me. That would have gone off ages ago. What the flipping hell was that all about? Anyway, we've been talking about we spoke to Helen, who was scammed by Kate Bush. Well, sorry, Hazel, not Helen. I'm talking about Helen. Hazel. Marion, you were also part of this scam, were you?
Yes, unfortunately, I was.
Were you? Now, did you buy your tickets with Hazel, or did you meet her outside the Kate Bush concert?
I met Hazel outside the Kate Bush concert. There was about 7 couples, but we'd all been scammed by the same girls.
Oh,
I actually went up to London last Sunday to meet them to buy the ticket.
Yeah.
And I'm glad my husband came with me, because if I'd gone on my own, he would have said, "Oh, you silly thing."
Yeah.
But we actually took photos of them as well.
Oh.
And I asked for ID, and she had actually one of them had a Ticketmaster ID badge.
Oh, okay.
With
Yeah.
her picture.
Yeah.
And I rang Ticketmaster to say, like, someone's scamming, saying that they work for you, but to be honest with you, they didn't seem that interested.
Oh.
And I just don't want it to happen to anybody else,
Well,
you know?
first of all, we don't know if this it would be very easy to fake a Ticketmaster identification badge. So
Well, it's anything now, isn't
exactly,
it, really?
you can do it all on the computer. So I would be very surprised if she was an official employee of the said ticket agents.
Yeah,
but it's definitely worth pursuing with them to see if they do know someone of that name.
I mean, I did give her name
Yeah.
that was on the tickets, and it was the same name on her ID.
Yeah.
But
So
know,
you went.
You
How
just
much?
feel so silly.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing. And how much?
go on.
How much did you pay for the tickets, Marion?
I actually paid for 2 tickets $350.
Oh, blimey.
It's just I felt so sorry for people that had come all the way from like Birmingham, like Hazel,
Yeah.
and someone drove all the way from Wales, and another couple booked a hotel. And
Just for
you know,
Kate,
you just
I
think,
don't. What is it about Kate Bush, Marion? Because I just don't get it.
Well, I expect you're probably a lot younger than us, so it might be why.
It could be. I'm a very. I'm in my mid to late 20s, so yes. It's,
yeah. Well, I'm same age as Kate Bush, so
73.
you know, it's just that I sort of grew up in that era.
Yeah.
So and I've always just really liked her.
So, what point did you realise you'd been had? You were plum sauce.
Well, when we gave her the money, we gave it to her in an envelope, and I said, "Oh, do you want to go and do you want to open it and check it?" And she said, "Not here." And I said, "We'll go and have a cup of tea." And she said, "No, it's all right. I trust you." As I was going home, she even texted me and said, "Oh, thank you, Marion. I'll ring you Tuesday."
Yeah.
Well, Tuesday, she didn't ring me, so I tried ringing her in the evening. As soon as I knew the phone was switched off, that was it. I just knew.
Oh, nuts.
And it was just that I took a friend who hasn't got 2 pennies to rub together, and I felt so sorry for her as well, and I just couldn't take the money off her.
Have you got this? Have you got this woman's phone number? Not your friend that you took, the woman, the Dodge Pot that sold you the tickets.
Yes, but she's got the phone switched off, and she's used not just this phone number.
Oh.
She's got other phone numbers that she's been using, and you know, I have tried ringing again, and it's switched off.
Can you leave a message on there?
No,
No.
just a text.
I tell you what, have you got the number there?
Hang on a minute.
Because what I'll do is I'll hand you back to producer Joe. I suspect
Yeah.
that phone number is long gone and dead.
Oh yeah.
But if I hand you back to producer Joe, maybe you could give her the number and she can just put a little call in and just see if she can leave a message and maybe say that we want to talk to her or something. I
Good
suspect.
luck.
Well, exactly. I suspect.
Do you want to buy some tickets?
Hey, listen, I've got a bridge that's for sale as well, Marion. I suspect. Well, listen, I'm going to hand you back to producer Joe. I suspect we'll get nowhere, but give it a little call. You never know. 03453 009956. We've heard from Marion and we've heard from Hazel, who are both ripped off buying tickets to go and see Kate Bush. A couple of things. Any sympathy for them? You've got to be a little bit sympathetic, haven't you? Really? They went and met the woman? It's quite an elaborate scam. Yeah, come down to London, come and meet me, and we'll have a little chat, and I've got the tickets, and yeah, you can take a picture. Any sympathy for them? And also, can someone try and explain the mystery of Kate Bush to me? I just don't Yes, the Babushka video. Oh, man alive. That certainly eased a lot of teenage boys through, what can be a very emotional period of their lives. But the music? Nah. 03453 009956. Ever been scammed by Kate Bush? BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the travel. Here's Matthew.
Motorways this morning, very busy already. The M6 northbound, very slow from junction 12 up towards Stafford at 14. It's due to barrier repairs just north of junction 13, so that's why we're down to 2 lanes, and that's the reason for the queues. We've also, on top of that, got some weekend works, which means some slip road closures. The M54 eastbound exit slip road at junction 2 is closed, as is the northbound entry slip at junction 12 of the M6. As a consequence of that, I think the A449 and the A5 will be busier. They certainly were last week, that's for sure. Through Kings Norton, around the Druids Heath direction, actually, Druids Lane remains closed for this incident just by Chilworth Road. Don't forget those temporary lights on the Hagley Road West just by Beach Lanes Cross, outside the Amber Tavern, if you know. It's been very busy for both the Hagley Road West and the Wolverhampton Road. And also through Aston Bridge remains closed for that maintenance work taking place, so that's going to cause some problems if you're heading from Dartmouth Circus over towards the Lichfield Road direction this morning. Certainly just one to bear in mind. If you can update us, call BBC WM 95.6 Travel on 08453 002288.
Matthew, thank you very much. I've got to say, the internet is getting its revenge on Kate Bush. Your tweets about how Kate Bush ripped you off, coming up after this.
The voice of Birmingham in the Black Country.
BBC WM
95.6.
Man alive, it really is kicking off on Twitter. We asked the question, has Kate Bush ever ripped you off? Turns out she's ripped off quite a few people. Shall I go through some of these stories on Twitter? As we said, Scott says, Kate Bush once tricked me into updating her Oyster card. Stuart Gottsall says, I purchased a petrol mower from Kate Bush. She said it had a full tank of petrol. However, it was only half full. Matt Allwright from Rogue Traders, he knows how to stop a scam. Matt Allwright says, I once lost a perfectly good pair of shoes in a lake because of Kate Bush. And Mono says, thinking about it, I'm not sure Kate Bush really did need 30 quid to get her car unclamped so she could get to the hospital. Deary me, we're onto something here. Forget Danny Kelly and his consumer show. We are onto something here. Bush, we're coming after you. We're going to... No answer from that number. Did it ring? Didn't ring. OK, all right. That phone number's probably dead. OK, well, Kate Bush, we're coming for you. And boy, oh boy, we are certainly... we're going to see what we can do. 03453 009956. Doreen's in Erdington. Good morning, Doreen.
Ian.
Good morning.
I'm ringing up about the man that was beheaded. No, I think
Alan
it's
Henning,
absolutely appalling. And not just him, the others that was happened to as
David
well.
Haynes, and there was some American gentleman,
If you were going on holiday to a foreign country and the Foreign Office says, don't go, whose fault is it if you go?
Yeah.
But
he didn't go on holiday.
Do-gooder, there's plenty of work here that can be done.
You say Doreen,
you're safe.
Yeah, Doreen, you say do-gooder. When you say it, it sounds quite derogatory.
Well, they are. They do good. It says what it says.
But you're saying it. But you're saying it in a way that makes it sound like it's a dirty word.
No, I don't think so. Well, it depends how you take it. But he wanted to help people. Well, there's people here that need help. He could go and work in old people's home and help them, or another country which is a bit safer. You know, to me, he shouldn't have gone there.
So it was his fault.
He shouldn't have been beheaded either.
Well, no, I think we can pretty much all agree on that.
Nor the others shouldn't.
No.
These people who were working for television or papers, they're only doing a job of work. They're not doing them any, actual harm, are they?
Who is... oh gosh,
journalists and things
I know.
like that are beheaded.
Am I going to say this?
Think about it,
Doreen, let me get a flipping word in edgewise. Thank you, my love. It could be argued that Alan Henning, because he was there, he was volunteering, he was helping children and orphans, that his work is more worthy than those of the journalists. The journalists are getting paid to tell us the story.
I don't mean to say they should be beheaded, whatever.
It doesn't at all. But if you're going to argue for people not going over there, and I not necessarily am, but it could be argued that the journalists who are over there are serving even less of a purpose.
Probably, but it don't call for anybody to be killed in that way.
Can I just stress?
Whatever.
I cannot believe I have to say this. Can I just stress, I am literally not calling for anyone to be beheaded, OK?
No, I'm not.
No.
But another thing, when you think of what I think, well, I wouldn't go there because what they did, I know it's not that actual group, but when they drove them planes into the Twin Towers in America, they blew up the Watty, and I should think to myself, I think I'll keep away from them.
Well, hang on a minute. What
I think he should have put his wife and family...
What is September the 11th? How can you draw the line from September the 11th to what happened to Alan Henning yesterday? Explain.
I'm not doing that. I'm
then why have you mentioned it?
I would think about the people I was going to help. Well, some of them, they're, the people that are in Syria, who are the bad lot, the things that they've done in the past, am I safe? You know, you've got to.
Have you got to think? Sometimes you don't. This is the thing, right? Sometimes you don't have to put yourself first. And I think this is the problem with a lot of people, possibly including me, right? We all put ourselves first. And there are people like Alan Henning who didn't put himself first. He put others first. And isn't that what we... Haven't we lost that?
He put the wrong people first, I'm sorry to say.
What's wrong? What, little kiddies? He put little kiddies first.
Kids in other countries, he could have helped where he'd be. He's probably...
How can you say...
He wouldn't have lost his life.
Doreen, how can you say he put the wrong people first? He put little kiddies first.
Yes, but there's other little kids in other parts of the country where he would have been safer. Let the other people, like the Muslims who go there, they probably wouldn't be arrested. He knew because he was British or whatever, English or a Christian, that his life might have been in danger. But if there's other people going, he could have given money to the cause, but he could have gone somewhere else. You know, there's other parts in the country where little kids are suffering, where he could have gone and helped them, where his life wouldn't have been in so much danger.
Doreen, thank you very much. I'm finding bits of this morning thoroughly depressing. Thoroughly depressing. He went to help the wrong people. 03453 009956 is the phone number. Roger's in Long Itchington. Good morning, Roger.
Hi, Iain.
What would you like to say?
Well, if I may digress a minute...
Please do,
I
sir.
watched a programme on 2, I think it was on BBC 2, Rwanda's Untold Story.
Oh, yeah.
And I found it very distressing the way Western politicians, Blair, Clinton, etc., sucked up to this ex-army general and now President Kilali, I think his name is, Kilagi or somebody like that.
Yeah.
And that... I know that democracy is a word very much pushed around of late, and to many people it means very little where it should mean a lot. As regards Mr. Henning,
Mr. Henning,
I think he was an extremely brave man, and I mean people have been going out to various countries. In the early 1900s, it was mainly Africa and Asia missionaries. And they met a fate worse than beheading, actually. Some of them was boiled alive, I believe. So there's always been the sacrificial...
Can you I'm finding bits of this show this morning thoroughly depressing. Alan Henning has been described by my listeners as a bit stupid, a fool, and asking for it. I can't comprehend how anyone could say that. He went out there to help sick kids. He went out there to help orphaned children. He went out there to take nappies out there for babies.
Absolutely. Now, let me tell you, when Adrian was doing this programme and people was going out there, like Mr. Emmons went out there, I said to Adrian, I said, it's easy to be a Christian, plonk your backside on a pew of a Sunday night and leave it at that. Mr. Hemming, I don't know whether he's a Christian or not.
Alan Henning. Henning with two N's. I just feel we should probably get his name right.
The thing about it is, it's people like that, and I said if I could get somebody to look after my stuff, I said I'd contact the Muslims in Birmingham because they take stuff out there, and I said we'd go as a joint venture as Christians and Muslims and show people what community spirit is really like.
Roger, thank you very much indeed. I'm not making light. I just feel that we should. You're confusing Henning and Hemming. I just feel we should probably get his name right because it's only respectful. Alan Henning, of course, that we're talking about. Your point is still excellent and still very, very valid, Roger. So thank you for that. 03453 009956. He was a fool. He was a bit stupid. He was asking for it. On the converse, we've had people saying that he had principles and he was brave. And I think that's it. He had principles and he was brave. If we all sat back and did nothing, and I put my hands up, I wouldn't have the guts to go out there. I don't do a lot. It's making me question exactly what I'm contributing to society. If we all sat on our backsides and did stuff, wouldn't it be a depressing world? Wouldn't it be sad? 03453 009956. Also asking, ever been ripped off by Kate Bush? It's my favourite question I've ever asked on the radio. Ever been ripped off by Kate Bush? I like my mum, but... And is there a doctor in there? I'm going to keep pushing the doctor in the house one because all we need is one phone call for that to make my day. Have you ever been in a theatre or an aeroplane where you've had to... someone has said, is there a doctor in the house? Or have you been the person that's come out and said that? Surely that must be every stagehand's dream scenario. Every ham actor must want a member of their cast to collapse backstage. Don't worry, I know how to deal with this. Sorry to interrupt the performance, ladies and gentlemen. I do have to ask, is there a doctor in the house? He walks off going, yes. Must be every ham actor's dream to say those words. 03453 009956. Simon's on the line. Morning, Simon.
Morning. Just like to say, it's a great show, by the way. I'm just ringing up about this Alan Hemming.
Henning.
I think Hemming.
Henning. It's Alan Henning with two N's.
Yeah. What I'd like to say is I think he's a bit brave and a bit stupid, like what most people are saying. It's all very well going out and helping people, which is, I admire him for doing that. But on the other thing, nobody's mentioned his family.
Yep.
He's gone out there to help. He's lost his life. It's over and done with to him because he's never going to know the hurt and the suffering that he's left behind.
And
that's why I say people think he's stupid, because if you're married and you've got your family, a loving family around you, and you're willing to sacrifice that for what he's done, you've got to say, is it worth what he's done?
I don't know if, and I'm glad you've raised this point. This is something we've talked about in the past about people who who do dangerous jobs when they've got families. I don't know if stupid is the right word. And I don't know how many kids he's got. He's got a wife, and I know he has children. I don't know how many. I don't know if stupid is the right word. I want to say selfish, but I'm not sure that's quite right, because what he was doing was quite selfless. But I can understand your point, Simon, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, what he's done is admirable, what he's done, but I can't understand, if he's going with a convoy, like somebody else has already mentioned, and predominantly it's Muslims, why the need for him to go? They're already doing the job.
But why should the fact that why should the fact that the aid is going to Muslims, why should that stop him going?
Well, purely because of the threat. I mean, if he thought a lot of his own family, like he does of something that's out of his control, like delivering aid, that's all he was doing, delivering aid. I mean, with the threat, you've got to weigh up what's right, isn't it? I mean, the aid is still going to get there that he was working towards. I can't. That's what people are trying to say.
Simon, I appreciate that. Thank you. I'm going to move on because we're coming up to the news. Has Simon got a point? Has Simon found a little chink in my armour of my argument? I'm sitting here saying he's a brave man. Maybe we should consider him a hero. Don't more people need to stand up and act on their principles? But was he? God, this is so hard to say, isn't it? But I'm going to say, was he a little bit selfish in as much as he was putting his life at risk? He has got a family and kids, and he could have helped that charity in a slightly less hands-on kind of way. He could have helped that charity, and imagining, in this country, and not put his life in such risk. Isn't it an uncomfortable conversation? This all started Maybe I should rein it back a bit. It all started asking if any of you had watched one of these murderous beheading videos. We spoke to someone who had seen one a few years ago, the Ken Bigley video, and he wishes he hadn't. I'd love to hear from you if you have. 03453 009956. Things you hate about your mum. Ever been ripped off by Kate Bush? And please, by midday, can we find someone who's been involved in a "is there a doctor in the house" incident?
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.
It's 11 o'clock. Let's get the news now. Here's Kevin Pashby.
Good morning. In the past few moments, David Cameron has made a statement vowing to do everything possible to hunt down the killers of the British hostage Alan Henning.
It is senseless. It is completely unforgivable. Anyone in any doubt about this organisation can now see how truly repulsive it is and barbaric it is as an organisation. And as a country, what we must do with our allies is everything we can to defeat this organisation in the region, but also to defeat it at home.
An online video emerged last night showing the Salford taxi driver being beheaded by Islamic State militants. At the end of the video, the killer threatens another hostage, an American named Peter Kassig, a former soldier who was abducted a year ago whilst working for a relief organisation. He's since converted to Islam and now calls himself Abdul Rama Kassig. Mike Hyde is a former colleague of Mr Henning.
Absolutely heartbroken. He was just doing his best, you know. I just think we've got to throw the book at these people now. Enough's enough. You know, he was doing his best for me. They'd obviously got no heart whatsoever, no humanity. So I think it's time we just threw the book at them. You know, gloves are off.
Other news this morning, and students in Birmingham are holding a demonstration later as violent scuffles between police and protesters continue. Officers in Hong Kong say they've arrested 19 people during street unrest. It's after clashes between pro-democracy campaigners and people opposed to their ideas. This afternoon in Birmingham, students will gather in support. Ellen Chung is a student at Birmingham City University.
In this country, you can select whoever you want to be the government, and we're here to back up the students a bit because they've been treated violently by the police using tear gas and pepper spray, and we think it's really unfair.
The Liberal Democrats are voting this weekend on plans to spend an extra £1 billion on the NHS if they win the next election. Party members are expected to approve the policy at their annual conference in Glasgow, which starts today. And thousands of people are taking part in marches around the world to call for greater protection for elephants and rhinos. Wildlife campaigners say both species could become extinct within 2 decades because of spiralling demand for ivory and rhino horn. In the UK, there'll be events in London, Bristol, Edinburgh and here in Birmingham. Sport now. West Bromwich Albion aim for a 4th successive win when they play Liverpool at Anfield later. It's the first of 2 commentary games here on BBC WM today, starting at 3 o'clock. Aston Villa hope to repeat their shock win over Manchester City last season when the teams meet at Villa Park later. That'll be live from 5:30. Wolves start the day just 2 points behind the leaders in the Championship. They're at home to Wigan. Blues travel to South London for the second time in a week, this time to face unbeaten Charlton. Whilst the Walsall manager Dean Smith is quietly confident they can become the first team this season to beat League One leaders Bristol City at the Banks's Stadium this afternoon. Smith said it's not a foregone conclusion that their opponent's unbeaten run will continue.
Got a good habit of stopping runs though, so hopefully we can do that against Bristol. But they are a very good team. I've watched their last couple of games and got really good players, experienced players. It's going to be a real test for us, but one we're looking forward to. We won't fear them, but we'll certainly respect what they're doing.
Taking a look at the weather, it's wet and dreary, dank and dreary. There was some heavy downpours expected this morning. It should dry up this afternoon, highs reaching around 15 Celsius, that's 59 Fahrenheit. It should be dry overnight, turning chilly, lows down to 5 Celsius, 41 Fahrenheit. Sunday's looking chilly but sunny. BBC WM 95.6 News. There's more online at bbc.co.uk/WM.
The Voice. The Voice. The Voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
You should take in other religions and treat them as you would want to be treated yourself.
We are even more intelligent. They treated me with the utmost respect.
Iain Lee, Saturdays
9 till 12.
BBC WM 95.6.
It really is an odd show. Half of it is anchored in reality and the horrific things that are happening in the world. The rest of it, well, gets complete and utter guffed. If I'm honest with you, is a load of nonsense. So, on the serious side, Alan Henning, we're talking about his murder. We started off specifically asking if any of you watched any of these beheading videos. We had one gentleman who had, about 10 years ago, Ken Bigley. He kind of regrets it now. If you've watched one, and I think you're being a little bit coy, dear listener. I think you're being a little bit coy. I'm sure that more of you have seen them. I don't want to have a go at you. I'm not going to have an argument. I'm going to question you, though. Why? What did you hope to get out of it? What other stuff are we talking about? Ever been ripped off by Kate Bush? We spoke to Hazel, who claims that Kate Bush ripped her off. I like you very much. I suspect that it wasn't Kate Bush that ripped her off, but the young lady that sold her some hooky tickets. I love my mum, but she's an half get on my nerves. What irritates you about your mum? And please, we've got 55 minutes before Daz Hale comes on and talks about football. Have you ever been in a situation where someone has shouted, "Is there a doctor in the house?" 03453 009956.
Have your say.
Across the West Midlands, call
03453
009956.
BBC WM 95.6.
We really need to investigate Bush. Bush is pushing things, and we need to find out exactly what's going on with Bush. I want to penetrate. No, because I tell you why. We're getting so many. I want to penetrate this story and find out exactly what's going on. We're getting so many stories of Kate Bush. Rob has tweeted, "I paid her $2,000 to do my guttering. I never saw her again." Chris is in Walsall. Morning, Chris.
Morning, Iain.
Morning, Chris. I think I've just saved myself a sacking. What have you got for us?
I think I've been ripped off by Kate Bush.
What happened?
I was in a line for a concert and, somebody come along the line and said, would you like a big issue?
Oh, yeah.
And I said, yeah, genuine course. I said, here's the £1.20. He says, you don't mind if I keep this because, it's my last one.
What?
And I said, well, all right then, fair dues. I mean, so I handed out the money. I thought, homeless, just let them buy.
Yeah.
The other night, I'm in the queue again for a different concert.
Yeah.
And it's the same person.
Yeah.
Selling the big issue. Even asked me again and said, would you like to buy a big issue? I only realised that it wasn't even that week's big issue. And I thought, hello, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
But I paid him, £1.20. And I thought, something's going on here. I mean,
hang on, Chris. I just missed the story. My fat fingers moved you. So go on. So you paid him the £1.20.
I paid him the £1.20 and let him keep the big issue. Yet, the following night, he's still selling.
So hang on. So you paid him the £1? Did you pay him that money the second time?
No. I mean, I felt foolish. And I just said, I ain't got the money, mate. But later that day,
yeah.
Somebody asked me if I could lend them 20p to get to Wolverhampton.
What?
And I thought, bus fares have gone down, but however, lent them the 20p. And you won't believe it, a week after, same person asking 20p, only this time to get to Erdington, in the middle of Warsaw.
Chris, can I ask, have you got a tattoo on your head that says mug?
Iain, I feel naive, but really, now I know how high this goes up.
Yeah.
If it weren't for Hazel, I wouldn't know.
You know this all links
She's
back to the
got
Bush.
Agents. Kate Bush has got agents.
Well, hang on one second. Before we
It's a pyramid scheme.
Well, before we completely demean the name of Bush, you said that you were at a concert, a second concert. What concert were you queuing up for when the big issue seller approached you again?
Oh, it was most probably Malik Street preachers or something like that.
No, it wouldn't be them. They're socialists. Yeah, it must be Kate Bush. What he did, Chris, thank you for that. What he did to Chris, it was like when Top Cat, remember Top Cat would put the coin in the doorman's hand, it was on a bit of string, he whipped it out. That's what he did to Chris. Put the big issue in his hand and then whipped it out again. Chris, thank you very much indeed. 03453 009956 is the telephone number. Ever been ripped off by Kate Bush? And if her legal team are listening, listen. My tongue is in my cheek. Liam's in Albury. Morning, Liam.
Morning.
What you got for us?
Just a few things. I mean, obviously, with Alan Henning, this is an atrocious act, as of all the other beheadings. My question is, why is nobody questioning the decisions of the British government?
Well, go on then, question them. What questions would you like to ask?
Well, obviously, there was another British journalist who was beheaded a few weeks ago, and there was also a statement put out by ISIS to state that that was a warning for the British government to stay away from Syria and to stay away from Iraq. Now, obviously, that's a big question. Do you go or not?
Well, we can't have our foreign policy dictated by some nut job with a machete, can we?
Our foreign policy, well, the problem is with foreign policy, our governments are actually sworn in their oath is to protect this country, the people in this country. That is what they're sworn in to do.
But we can't. They can't be. We can't let some fella in the desert wearing a balaclava tell us what we can and what we can't do.
No, but at the end of the day, that's a civil war. How would we like it if people from the Middle East, from China, from Russia, if there was an uprising in England and we were going against our government, how would our people feel if it was the other way round?
Oh, I listen, and I'm not for one second arguing the right or the wrongs of what we're doing over there, because I've not quite got my head around it yet either. But just because a fella who's too cowardly to show his face says, "Don't come over here, otherwise we're going to kill someone else," we can't listen. We have to ignore that, don't we?
Well, yeah, in a way we do have to ignore it, but surely it should be a choice on the British people. We spent how much money and how much British politicians' time just for this Scottish referendum to decide whether or not Scotland were in or out. Now, Scotland got the option to choose for that. In a situation like this, which isn't only going to affect the Middle East, we've got so many of these jihadists leaving England to go and fight in Syria. Do they not think that by killing what they call their brothers, it's not going to cause problems in this country?
Can I ask you a question, Liam? And this is to highlight my ignorance, not yours, OK? What is a jihadist?
According to news and everywhere where the definition's coming from in the media, a jihadist is somebody with extremist views who's going to fight for a religion or a belief.
Is that the definition? Because do you know what? I've heard this. I've become immune to the word jihadist, where it's bandied around so much. And I just dawned on me the other day. I don't actually know. I'm not completely clear what it means. But that's the definition, is it?
As far as I understand it, yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Liam. We just see this word written and said on the radio, and I don't quite know exactly what it means. Well, I know, yeah, jihad is... OK, look, I've been sent a Wikipedia definition by producer Joe. Jihad is an Islamic term referring to a religious duty of Muslims. Struggle or resisting. A person engaged in jihad is called a mujahid, the plural of which mujahideen. OK, so a jihadi is, I'm guessing, someone that feels they are doing their duty in the struggle. Is that right? Does that sound about right? Sizal's on the line. Morning, Sizal.
Good morning, Ian.
What would you like to say?
I'm curious that people are describing Alan Henning as stupid because he's gone out to help people on the ground when he's got a family at home and therefore should be concentrating and putting his efforts perhaps into his family and maybe doing work long gone. Because my thinking is, well, surely that means then we can never have any police officers, firefighters, anybody that does a job that helps others that's potentially dangerous. We can never have them doing that job if they've got a family. So therefore, only single men with no ties must ever make themselves available.
I guess you're right you're right, and I'd forgotten that point, that we do have to rely on selfless people to protect us and to make, doesn't this sound corny, to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
But it sounds corny, but it's true. We do, don't we? People who have to put this is going to sound so flippant. There is a line from Star Trek. Okay, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few, and it's people like this who put the greater cause ahead of themselves and their families that help make us a civilised society.
Absolutely. And it's all very well people saying, well, he could distribute aid from a distance. You need to have people on the ground physically distributing the aid in the same way that you need to have nurses in hospitals, on wards, getting their hands dirty.
Okay,
somebody needs to get in and get their hands dirty.
Okay, an argument against that is he was travelling with through Syria with loads of Muslim workers, British Muslim workers and Syrian Muslims, I think. They were hijacked 20 minutes into Syria. They were all taken prisoner. All of the Muslims, the British and the Syrian, were released within 20 minutes. They kept Henning. So he didn't need to be there, did he? Other people would have filled his slot.
But you could say that about any job. Why would any police officer, any firefighter, any nurse, anyone who does a job that's selfless, they don't need to be there. Somebody else could have filled that gap. The whole purpose, in my humble opinion, and it's only my humble opinion, the whole purpose of this exercise in executing people is to divide. It's to cause hatred. It's to make people more suspicious, more angry, more vengeful towards each other than they already are. Because now people are questioning the validity of this good man who went out to help others. Was he genuinely going out to help others, or maybe he had another objective? You know that's the suspicion that's going through the minds of the thick, quite frankly.
Do you think
masses that now occupy this wonderful country?
Now we're running out of time. I've got to go to travel. Do you think that Alan Henning was a hero?
Absolutely, 100%. Forget any soldier, forget any help for hero. As far as I'm concerned, that man, 100%, is a legend. End of.
Says out, thank you very much indeed. Your thoughts on what she just said, 03453 009956. It's 11:16, it's BBC WM 95.6. Let's get the travel. Here's Matthew.
Motorways this morning, the M5 northbound 2 to 1 had a very brief lane closure. That's been lifted. Traffic's back on the move. The M6, however, very busy from Gailey up towards Stafford. 12 towards 14, very slow. It's owing to barrier repairs, taking us down to 2 lanes between 13 and 14, passing the 2 Stafford turns. Weekend works also for the motorways this weekend. The M6 northbound entry slip road at Junction 12 and the eastbound exit slip road for the M54 at Junction 2. Both those slip roads are closed. As a consequence, the A449 and the A5 will see much more traffic than usual. Earlier reports from Staffordshire Police of a collision around Barton under Needwood on the A38. That's all we know for the moment. Would appreciate your updates if you have them. I'll give you the numbers shortly. Through Druids Heath, Druids Lane is the scene of an incident. It's closed by Chelworth Road. There's still the problems, of course, on Hagley Road West, just by the Wolverhampton Road, because, of course, we've got those temporary traffic lights in force again today. And through Sutton Coldfield, the National Road Relay Championship is being held at Sutton Park today, so watch out for extra disruption in the area. If you can update us, particularly about the A38, call us please, 08453 002288.
A new champion for the West Midlands.
Wendy from Quinton. This was the lady that was worried after more than 10 years her mobility car was going to be taken away from her. Daz went along to see her.
I have been like a prisoner. Sorry, Daz, I get upset. They're going to take the car off me.
His mission, to change the lives of many in Birmingham and the Black Country.
I just put a call into the DWP and tried to get the ball rolling.
Now, you're not crying this morning.
I'm a lot happier now.
What's the update?
So we'll be able to have my new car. You know, it's thanks to you at the radio station.
Wendy, on a scale of 1 to 10, how happy are you?
10.
A new hero for mid-mornings. Danny Kelly, weekdays from 9.
BBC WM
95.6.
Oh dear, I'm getting flack on Twitter. We'll go to that in a second. It's about this Alan Henning thing. Your thoughts on what Cesar said? We're going to get the audio off of what she just said. I asked her if she thought that Alan Henning was a hero. She said yes. Perhaps more of a hero than soldiers and people that go out there to fight. We'll get. I don't want to do her a disservice, so I may be misquoting her. Oh, I am misquoting her. I want to make sure we get the intention of what she was saying. So producer Joe is just getting the audio of that, so we can play it back to you, because I think it was a really interesting, very passionate point that she put forward. 03453 009956. Well, Mark has just called in after listening to Suzanne. Morning, Mark.
Good morning.
What would you like to say?
About some of the remarks the last lady said.
Cizal, yeah.
Pardon?
Cizal was her name. Yeah, what would you like to say about it?
She says about firefighters and police and nurses, why bother them doing their jobs? Because they get paid to do their jobs. So therefore, they are looking after their families. It's a job they have to do.
No, you've misunderstood her, Mark.
In what way?
With the greatest of respect, you've misunderstood her. I think she was saying that that we need people like that. These people who do put themselves, who do put society ahead of themselves and their families. We do need those people. That they are great people. She wasn't having a pop at firemen.
Yeah, and another thing about you go to them sort of places, Syria. What else do you expect?
You don't expect to get your head chopped off. You don't expect to be beheaded and murdered in a brutal fashion when you're helping children.
Well, no, but it's one of those sort of places that, he's doing this job voluntary, Alan, and it's a terrible crime. It really is. And I feel for his family and all his friends, and, it's a terrible crime, and they should bring the people to justice, as soon as possible. But, since when did anyone from Syria or anybody else come to our country and help our home?
Well, why would any Syrians come over here and help us? We're not being bombed. We've not got this bizarre, new, insane army that's being manufactured there. We've not got a leader who's a complete dodgepot bombing his own people. We're not a war zone. Why would you expect Syrians to... We can't not help Syrians or people in need because they haven't come to help us first.
Stay at home. Look after your own family.
Well, Mark, hang on a second. You've contradicted yourself. He's gone. I thought he might. He's contradicted himself. He said stay at home, look after your own families. But he's picked up Cizal because he thought she was criticising firefighters and policemen. She wasn't, by the way. 03453 009956. Let me just play you this clip. Cizal was a caller 2 callers ago who thought that the people who were calling Alan Henning a fool, stupid, he brought it on himself, those people were wrong. And so I asked her, was Alan Henning a hero?
Absolutely, 100%. Forget any soldier, forget any help for hero. As far as I'm concerned, that man, 100% is a legend.
Forget any soldier... Forget any help for heroes. That man is 100% a legend. I'm going to leave that there. I'm going to leave that with you, floating and rattling around your heads. Your thoughts, please. It's the most passionate defence we've had of Alan Henning this morning. We said we had people call him a fool, stupid. He asked for it. She said, well, no, actually, he's probably more of a hero than soldiers. 03453... 009956 is the phone number. We've only got another 35 minutes of the show, so now is an excellent time to call. Chris is in Solihull. Morning, Chris.
Good morning.
What would you like to say, sir?
I think it's your fault. You're part of the media.
My fault that Alan Henning was beheaded?
Yeah.
I would love to hear this, Chris, so where you go.
But you're part of the media. I think if things weren't reported instantly around the world, I know it was on the internet, we can't do anything about that, but if it wasn't reported on all news programmes, radio programmes, television programmes, half of this wouldn't go on.
Which half wouldn't go on?
Half of all the trouble we get in the world. When the IRA used to bomb Manchester and London and all that, if it wasn't reported so widely in the news and go on for days and days with pictures, these terrorists wouldn't do it.
You are right, Chris, that when bombs go off on mainland Britain, that shouldn't be covered in the news, should it?
Well, it shouldn't be covered as widely as it is, and also these people getting beheaded.
Are you bonkers, Chris? Are you really suggesting that when the IRA were blowing up parts of this country, that it shouldn't have been on the news?
They wouldn't have got all the publicity. They wouldn't have got as much publicity if all those bad things were not reported on the news programmes. most of it wouldn't go on, and you can't deny that.
Well, Chris, with the greatest respect, you can deny it because it's you have plucked that out of the clouds.
Right.
So are you seriously suggesting, right,
Go on.
that when the IRA were bombing Birmingham and Manchester and London, that it shouldn't have been covered on the news? That we should? How would you keep a shopping centre in Manchester that's been blown up? How would you keep that out of the news?
Go back 150 years. Do you think
No,
people were...
I'm not going to go. I'm not going to go back 150 years. I want to go back to I want to go back to a shopping centre being annihilated in Manchester. How could you keep that out of the news?
We've got to go back where it all... OK, if there was a shopping centre around 150 years ago...
No, Chris, I'm not...
And it was blown
Chris,
up...
I'm not
you
playing
wouldn't get
that...
to hear about it
Chris,
if you lived 20 miles away.
Chris, I'm not playing that game with you. I'm playing...
I
I
am.
No,
You're changing the point in your direction.
No, I'm not
and
changing...
I'm making the point in my direction.
Chris, you're not making any point, mate. You're talking utter guff. I'm trying to keep this grounded in reality. You've said...
Can I make my point fully, and then I'll listen to yours?
No, you can't, Chris. You have said
well,
that we
that's
should...
No, good then.
You're
hang running
on.
this show on your terms.
No, Chris.
People ring up with a view, and you change it on your
Chris,
terms.
I'm not
so
changing
I can't give you
it.
my view.
You can give me your... No, hang on a second. You can give me your view in a second, Chris.
Go on.
You have said that we shouldn't have reported on the IRA bombs in the 70s and 80s. So I have given you an example of an IRA bomb in the 80s, and you now want to talk about 150 years ago.
Can I make my point, right?
Well, let's hear your point.
You've got a phone-in show, right? 150 years ago, if there was a shopping centre and it was blown up, you wouldn't have got to hear about it if you'd lived 20 miles away. So people wouldn't blow things up because people don't get to hear about it. It's the media's fault. You report far too much.
OK, well, have you finished making your point? Because I still don't get it.
I've finished for now. You carry on.
OK, thank you. Well, I'm glad we managed to get that out of you. So let's go. Thank you. Let's go back to the Manchester shopping centre being blown up.
Right.
How would you have kept that out of the media?
Probably with great difficulty, but then many people got killed, and because it was reported so much, the IRA thought, hey, this is good, this. Every time we do something really bad, it gets reported around the world, it scares people. We'll blow something else up and blow something else up. OK. And just 03453 009956. Maybe I'm missing a valid point in Chris's argument here. Maybe it's because it's coming towards the end of the show. I've let my guard down. It sounds like guff to me, Chris, but I'm sure we might get some people phoning up to defend you. And just remind me how I am responsible for Alan Henning being beheaded. Because you're part of the media, which I say, if they didn't report so much, a lot of this sort of thing wouldn't happen. They're only chopping people's heads off because it gets reported around the world and they're showing how powerful they are. If it wasn't reported around the world, they probably wouldn't do it. So you wouldn't get half the terrorism if there wasn't so much media involved reporting everything.
I wish that were true.
You're part of that.
I am part of that, Chris. I wish it were true. With the greater respect, I think you live in a very naive fantasy world. But I appreciate your call.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Guys, anyone make any sense of that? 150 years ago, if a shopping centre was blown up? What? 03453 009956.
Darlaston,
Edgbaston,
Erdington,
Paisley, Gornal Wood. Have your say across the West Midlands.
BBC WM
95.6.
I am taking it personally because he's just said... No, I am taking it personally because he's just said that I am responsible for Alan Henning being beheaded. That's why I'm taking it personally. 03453 009956. Hey, Peaky Blinders, eh? Who'd have thought? I've not seen it. They've all got peaked caps, that's all I know. Well, there's been a debate in the office about how the accents are more black country than Birmingham. Doesn't mean nothing to me. They're the same, aren't they? Black country and Brummie accents, they're the same, surely? Can anyone tell me the difference? Well, Steve Pitts is from Cradley and he makes a living from making T-shirts with black country phrases and sayings on. Morning, Steve.
I've been, yeah, kid.
What's the difference?
Well, the Brummie accent there got no culture in Birmingham, so they have to nick a bit of Aaron.
Oh, blimey, right. So, but is there the accents? Let's be honest, they all sound the same, don't they?
No, you've got the black country accent, which is very rich, sort of, Anglo-Saxon's quite old, and then the Brummie accent is basically, I suppose it's more like a higher-pitched version of the black country, but they don't really have that much of a accent of their own, I think.
Oh, so you're saying that the Birmingham accent, they've nicked it from you? Steve, listen, we've got you on a terrible line. We're going to try and get you back on another one because we can barely hear you. And as we're talking about accents, I can't hear him, so let's get him back on another line. 03453 009956 is the telephone number if you want to give us a call about that or about any of the other bits and pieces. Are you there now, Steve?
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. There we go. I can hear you now. So you've got a black country accent?
Yeah, pardon?
Hello?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, blimey. Can you hear me, Steve?
I can hear you. I can hear you. I can.
This is going well. So you've got a black country accent, have you?
I think mine's more of a diluted accent.
There we go. We've lost Steve. Never mind. It was a brave effort that got us nowhere. Thank you very much indeed. Keith's in Bartley Green. Morning, Keith.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right, fella. What you got?
I think basically what that guy was trying to say, that because of media, people are doing things because they're being noticed, but, excuse me, 150 years ago, things were still being done, but people weren't knowing about them. So
yeah.
I don't think necessarily it's encouraged the atrocities. I think things were being done even 150 years ago, just the fact we didn't know about them. It was happening. So, but he's trying to say, well, because everything's reported, that's why they're doing it. But I think, there's been evil elements of all people in the world, even more than 150 years ago.
Yeah. But the thing is that you're right. You have to get balance between what you report and what you don't report. To suggest that we don't report that we didn't report that the IRA were blowing stuff up. Well, of course we have to, and we have to report.
You report it because it was news.
Yeah, exactly, and we have to report that this fella's been beheaded in Iraq.
Yes. Unfortunately, this is what's happened. Unfortunately, it's happened, and bless him, we're all sad for him because he was out there doing a job as a volunteer. With no political commitment, but from what we can gather from the media tell us, at all. So, obviously he was just out there trying to do
Go on, Keith, you can spit it out, Keith, you can do it. Come on.
A humanitarian exercise, and he's paid his life for it.
Yeah.
But, from what we're told, he had no... a friend of mine used to go out to parts... he was a fireman. They used to go doing things, as for to help people in other countries. With no political agenda, and this is what Alan Hemming, by the sound of it, was just a guy going out there as a driver to help.
Keith, listen, thank you very much. Gary's in Kings Norton. Morning, Gary.
Hello there, Ian. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm learning a lot this morning, shall we say?
Okay.
Not all of it good.
I'd like to comment about the sad situation of Alan Henning, but before I do, I just wonder if you could clear something up. When I watched the news regarding these criminals, let's call them that, they seem to be labelled differently each time I listen to it. It's either IS, ISIL, which the government seems to prefer, and then there's ISIS. I mean, are they all one and the same? Or?
They're all one and the same. They keep changing their name. I don't know what the latest... I think ISIL is the latest. And we have had... there was an email going around the BBC 2 weeks ago that said we should refer to them as the so-called Islamic State.
Right.
But I don't know what the latest edict is.
OK. Moving on to Alan Henning.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to comment on someone who's passed, especially as the family might also be listening. But it's a thin line, but I do come down on the side of people who think that he shouldn't have gone, irrespective of whether he got a family here or not, because he was doing some sort of work, obviously, in the warehouses, collating the food and the stuff that needs to go on this expedition. Couldn't he have been content to do that work that he was doing in this country?
And that's a question that someone raised earlier on, and actually there might be some kind of point in that.
Yeah, I mean, to say that, you did say something earlier, you don't expect to go to these countries to help children and expect to be beheaded. Well, I think you should do, really.
Well, you should expect to go to Syria and expect to be beheaded?
Well, to be captured or held for ransom or whatever, because it's been going on before he went there. The writing was on the wall that if you're a foreigner, particularly English or American, it's going to happen. You know, and it'll happen again, unfortunately.
Gary, let's try and shine a torch of lightness into this rather dark conversation. Ever been ripped off by Kate Bush?
No.
Oh, nuts! Turns out she's a right dodge pot.
I'd like to meet her.
Oh, steady on, fella. Steady on. We've got 25 minutes of the show. Can anyone sell Kate Bush to me? Not literally. That would be weird. I don't get Kate Bush, Ranj.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, Ranj. I don't get her. Do you?
Oh, no, I don't know.
No. You in bed?
No, I'm not. I'm at work.
You sound very laid back.
I am because, I ain't up to it today.
No, well, you never are, mate. Not really.
You ain't up to it because you wanted to penetrate the bush, didn't you?
Thank you very much, sir. Is your phone in the same room as you? Because you sound like you're a million miles away.
Well, unfortunately, all your phone calls have been bad. I think the problem's probably at your end.
I think there's something wrong with your end, Ranjit.
No. Anyway, about this Alan Henning, he wasn't a fool. I don't think so, no. Right? One of the callers said he was naive. Okay?
Yeah.
I agree with that. But look at someone like, say, in history, Jesus Christ, He believed in what he died for what he believed in. So some of these people now, are they... Have you seen the film called Hot Shots?
Hang on a second. Hang on a second, Ranjit. Let me just get this right. You've gone from Alan Henning to Jesus Christ... to the film Hot Shots with Charlie Sheen in?
Yeah, Charlie Sheen,
Flipping it in one sentence.
There's a point. You've got to listen to the other person.
I can't wait to hear how you can link these ones up.
Did you see the bit where Lloyd Bridges comes in like the all-action hero, the president,
No, I've not seen it, mate.
No, okay, you haven't seen it. So Cameron and Bush in the past and Obama, go around with their bodyguards to Afghanistan, to Syria, or wherever they go, thinking that they're the big all-action heroes, They're not all-action heroes. These people are dying because of their policies. Now, the thing is, unfortunately, there's been overkill on all these stories. You've got to find a solution, right? Now, look what's happening. You're going to think I'm changing my topics all the time. Well, look what's happening
Nothing
in Hong
unusual.
Kong.
Okay, so this is right.
Look what's happening in Hong Kong.
Let me Ranjit, I'm going to let you make the point. I just want to make sure. So we've gone from Alan Henning to Jesus Christ, Hot Shots with Charlie Sheen and Lloyd Bridges, and now we're in Hong Kong.
Okay,
all right, go on, fella.
Explain to you all those, my
Can't wait to see you tie these all up. Go on, mate.
Hot Shots is that Cameron and Obama and Bush portray themselves as all action heroes.
We got that bit, so we're in Hong Kong now.
So what's Cameron going to do to get these people? What's his plan? He hasn't got a plan. I think personally, when George Galloway last time went to see Saddam
George Galloway's on the list now. Okay,
yeah. George, you need someone like George Galloway or somebody to go in and talk to these people.
Which people now? Lloyd Bridges?
ISIS people,
The ISIS aren't in...
As much as I'm patriotic, we are never going to win these people. Trust me, right? In 10 years' time, we will still be having the same conversation.
Ranjit, I can believe that of you because you phone up the same thing all the time.
What
has this got to do with Hong Kong?
Okay, when you're going to think I'm changing subject. 5 years ago when in Egypt, right?
Egypt.
It was the Arab Springs.
Yeah, we've got Egypt now. Yep. Okay.
The Arab Springs that spread to Bahrain, spread to Libya, Syria, everywhere. I feel that when I watch the news, the same kind of thing's happening in Hong Kong. Right, you've got all those people protesting peacefully at the moment, and then a couple of days later there's a little bit of violence, then the army gets sent in, then somebody else comes in, and then you get fanatics who are going to start killing people. So these kind of regime changes that the West, right, including ourselves, that do, I think are none of our business, right? And I think Cameron, right, going to Afghanistan when he was last week,
Okay, yep. We're going all over the globe with this one, Ranj.
Look how many bodyguards he's got with him.
Okay.
This guy Alan, right, went on his own.
There we go. We're back to the start.
He never had bodyguards with him.
No.
Yeah, but I think he's a hero. I think he's a hero because he died for what he believed in. He's helping those little kiddies, But another hero was that protester that was outside the Houses of Westminster, the peace protester from Redditch, right? Yeah. They used their force, they used to move him, but he was making the right thing, the anti-war campaign.
Ranjit, can I ask you a personal question?
Yeah.
Have you been smoking a bit of the old wacky backy today?
No, mate, no.
Because you are all over the shop, mate.
Listen, I'm quite interested in what's happening to our world, right? And it's happening all over the place.
Can I just go through the checklist of points you've made?
Go on then.
And I've got no idea what the through line is. Right. So, Alan Henning
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hot Shot, starring Charlie, and Lloyd Bridges.
Yeah.
Hong Kong.
Yeah.
George Galloway.
Yeah.
Egypt.
Yeah.
Afghanistan.
Okay. Should I tell you all the links, yeah?
Please do. Give us the answer.
The links with people that died for what they believe in.
Lloyd Bridges did not die for what he believed in.
Who?
Lloyd Bridges.
No, I'm saying he was portraying an all-action hero in a comedy spoof film, right? And that's what Cameron reminds me of.
Ranjit.
And there's Obama.
Ranjit.
Yeah.
You got 4 out a week last week. You're back down to 2 out a week.
No, I'm not.
You were back down to 2 out a week because that was poor.
Listen, Cameron goes out there pretending he's an all-action hero.
We're back to Lloyd Bridges.
Puff.
Okay. I don't think you can call David Cameron a puff. Let me just check the BBC guidelines. Hang on a second. Got them here. BBC guidelines. Hang on a minute. Hang on a second. No, we're not allowed to call the Prime Minister a puff, so apologies if anyone was offended by that. Ranjit, I mean, really, I'm not even going to give you a score today, Ranjit. That was all over the shop. Margaret's in Dudley. Good morning to you, Margaret.
Good morning.
I do apologise. Your warm-up act was a lunatic juggling knives. What have you got for us, Margaret?
Right. Well, what I about is there a doctor in the house?
Oh yeah.
I was on holiday at Yugoslavia and I went over to Venice on the catamaran.
Oh blimey! Look at you living the high life, Princess Margaret.
You can tell how long it was. It was Yugoslavia.
Yeah.
But as we were coming back, there was a lot of high seas, and everybody was being seasick. And a message come over: is there a doctor on board?
Yes.
So anyway, I went down and I said, I'm not a doctor, but I'm a trainer in first aid for the St. John Ambulance.
Oh, OK. I'm not a doctor, I'm a do-gooder, right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So they said, well, can you come and help us? There's a lady unconscious in the bottom part of the catamaran. Well, I went in and this lady was absolutely hysterical, and she kept on going unconscious and back conscious. But she didn't speak a word of English, and I didn't speak Cypriot.
Yes.
So I had a translator telling her to calm down, and she says, I can't breathe. And I was saying, it's all right. I will breathe for you if you can't breathe. And it was being translated.
What do you mean? Hang on a minute. What do you mean you'd breathe for her if she can't breathe?
If she stopped breathing, she was so convinced she was stopping breathing. And I said, it's all right, you're going to be fine. I will breathe for you. And it was being translated to her, to try and calm her down.
Yeah.
And anyway, she went unconscious, put her in the recovery position, then she came back round and panicking again.
Yeah.
And I was down on my knees with her for about half an hour.
Blimey.
Yeah.
Have you, Margaret, it's a great story, well done. Have you smelt smelling salts recently?
No.
Man, listen, guys, this is my top tip for you today. If you're wandering around in any of the towns, cities and high streets, pop into a Boots. Ask where the smelling salts are. You don't need to buy any. Take the lid off and have a good deep suck on that.
Why?
Forget your crack cocaine and your Alco Pops, Margaret. That's all you need to give you a little bit of a buzz.
I don't need a buzz at my age.
No. Margaret, listen, thank you very much indeed. Is there a doctor? Not a doctor in the house. Is there a doctor on board? Seriously, smelling salts. Man alive. You think you're awake now and experiencing everything. You are dozing and sleepwalking in black and white, kids. Go and have and no half measures. Really take a lungful of that stuff. 03453 009956. Let's go to Eddie. Morning, Eddie.
Morning. I nearly said Alan then, sorry.
Well, that's quite right. What would you like to say, Eddie?
I would like to say that Alan Hemming was an honourable man.
Yeah.
And I personally would like to give my condolences to his family and friends because he was a fantastic guy. He put himself out and he knew the risks, but obviously he must have thought in the back of his mind, he'd be all right, he'd be protected. But these thugs, let's not mince words. These thugs, they murdered this chap. They had no right to execute him. That's a legal process. So let's just stop saying he was executed. He was ruthlessly murdered by scum. And I sincerely believe the likes of Alan Hemming will be one of many who eventually will inherit this earth. He will live again. He's a good man. And he died in vile circumstances. No way that man should have suffered at the hands of those thugs. They've got no religion whatsoever.
Would you ever, Eddie, just going to try and tie it back, do what Ranjit couldn't do. I'm going to tie it back to the start of the show. Would you ever watch one of these beheading videos that are online?
No.
Tell me why.
Because I think you've got to have a warped mind to want to even tap into something like that.
Eddie, thank you. That's how we started the show. Nearly 3 hours. It's 11:45. Blimey, Daz is on soon. That's how we started the show. We've only had one person call in who has watched a beheading video. He watched one about 10 years ago. Ken Bigley. He regrets it. I bet he does regret it. I bet he does. That's something that's going to stay with you forever. I don't need to see those. I don't need to see what that looks like to know that it's horrific. And also, there's no dignity for the person who is being murdered. You sat, in your in Starbucks watching it on your laptop, or you're in your spare room. There's no dignity there. Last 15 minutes of the show before Daz comes on. 03453 009956. Is there a doctor in the house? Ever been ripped off by Kate Bush? And more of your calls on this. Right now, though, it's 1:45. Let's get the travel news with Matthew.
Morning. Watch out for troubles on the motorways across the West Midlands. Northbound, the M6 suffers its barrier repairs, taking us down to 2 lanes. As a consequence of that, very slow from junction 12 up towards junction 14. The works itself take place just north of the first Stafford turn at junction 13. We've also got some weekend works to watch out for as well. 2 sets of slip road closures. Firstly, the eastbound exit slip road of the M54 at junction 2 is closed, as indeed is the northbound entry slip of the M6 at junction 12. So, with both the slips affecting that, I dare say we'll see a bit more traffic on the A449 and the A5. Looks like it's good and bad news for the A38. The A38 southbound, clear of the accident near towards Barton under Needwood, but certainly busy southbound through the Fradley direction. It's mainly because people are heading to a National Memorial Arboretum event this weekend. There's a lot of cyclists in the area, a lot of motorcyclists rather. Through Sutton Coldfield, the National Road Relay Championships is being held at Sutton Park. And also, Joe and Melissa called us a little bit early to warn that there's still problems with those temporary lights. It's the Hagley Road West, the 456, just by the Wolverhampton Road, the Jonathan's Junction, if you know it. Those temporary signals are still in force, causing problems, predominantly for traffic heading out of city. Around Aston, Aston Bridge has that closure just around Dartmouth Circus, and West Mercia Police are dealing with problems around the Kings Norton direction. Druids Lane remains closed. Any more? 08453 0022 88.
Prepare to be blown away by our jaw-dropping collaboration. On stage is a modern-day icon. She's the lead singer of one of the best British bands of the decade. Alongside her, one of the most unique African vocalists I've ever heard. And they're both appearing with a member of a British folk dynasty. I can't wait. An unmissable BBC music performance. 27 artists, one song. Tuesday at 8 p.m. across the BBC.
Blimey. It's the last 15 minutes of the show. We'll speak to Daz in a little bit. No doubt I will get the thumbs up when Daz is around to find out where on earth he is today. Peter's in Moseley. Morning, Peter.
Morning.
Peter, what would you like to say, boss?
Good show.
Thank you.
The aid convoys. I've been on a couple of aid convoys to Belarus.
Blimey.
And Chernobyl went up.
Why did you do that?
Well, a friend of mine, Mike Worton, from West Bromwich, when he was doing these convoys, asked me to go. My wife went 5 times and I went twice. But the reason he went was that the aid convoys he thought might not get there.
Right.
The stuff would be stolen or taken by somebody in authority and never ever got to the people that it was meant for. That's why he always took it straight across Europe, Poland, Germany, whatever, into Belarus. So perhaps this chap thought the same. If he went, he could get there.
How much? But driving to Belarus, I'm not too hot on Belarus 20 or 30 years ago. How dangerous was that journey?
It wasn't war-torn. That's a fact. But there were 10 hours at a border post to get into Russia. and into Poland and in and out of Poland and Russia.
What do you think? We've had people calling Alan Henning stupid, a fool, and he asked for it. What do you think when you hear that?
I don't think he's any of those. I think he's a brave man for going into a war-torn country, but not stupid. Brave.
Why do you think? Okay, cards on the table. I think what he did was very brave. Why do you think we seem to have so many of the callers? And by that, I'm kind of extrapolating that Britain. Why do we think you think we seem to have such a problem with people acting independently and doing something different and being brave?
What do you mean, Ian?
Well, we've had so many people phoning up and saying this bloke was a plum, he was an idiot, he deserved it, he was asking for it. Why we seem to struggle with the fact that actually maybe what he did was quite brave.
I'll stop you there. A chap said to me once, 80% of the public are idiots. End of chat.
Peter, only 80%? Only? Phil's in Sutton Coldfield. Morning, Phil.
Good morning.
Have you got a problem with describing Alan Henning as brave?
I don't know if he was brave. I don't think he thought he was brave.
Oh, yeah, I don't, in that way, well, yeah, OK.
I just have an issue with some of the things I've heard this morning.
Go on.
I think when he set off on his mission or his journey or wherever he was last year, he never gave a thought, I don't think, to brave or anything like that. I don't know, Alan. I'm not commenting on anything that I know about, but I just think he is a hero because once he entered into the system, once he was taken in December and he entered into the system, what I mean is our country doesn't negotiate. We don't pay ransoms. So he was representing our country from that point onwards. And I just think about the hell that man must have gone through since December last year, which I haven't heard mentioned at all this morning. I'm sorry, I'm a bit emotional about it. I've been quite angry this morning. But nobody's mentioned the hell he must have gone through since last December. And I'm incensed by some of the comments I've heard this morning. I really am.
I'm surprised. I don't apologise for being emotional. Never apologise for that. I am surprised and I am very, very disappointed by some of the things that people have said about a bloke who we should be applauding, surely, for being brave. Whether he considered himself brave or not is almost irrelevant. For wanting to make a difference and help people less fortunate than themselves. I don't understand why we can't celebrate a life like that.
I'm sure at points between yesterday and December last year, he has thought of himself as foolhardy, selfish, all of those things, but he should be the only person that should have been allowed to think of himself as those things, not others.
Phil, thank you for your call. Never apologise for getting emotional. That's what it's all about, and it's called life, innit? It's called life. Phil, thank you very much indeed. Last 10 minutes of the show. If you want to give us a call, 03453 009956. Also, very quickly, we spoke to Hazel earlier on. She bought some tickets for Kate Bush online. They were hooky tickets. She turned up on the night. There were 20 other people all stood there going, well, no, hang on, we're sat in seat AH. Is she an idiot? Whose fault? It's not really Kate Bush's fault, obviously, but was she an idiot? Is it her fault? 03453 009956. Someone who'd never get ripped off by a hooky ticket scam. Mr. Daz Hale. Good morning, Daz.
Good morning. I was waiting for you last night there. I was at the Glee Club in Birmingham thinking, is he coming? Isn't he coming? I kept glancing at the door.
Daz asked me out on a date.
I did.
And I'm playing hard to get. I went to bed. Do you know, I was in bed by 8:30. I was so tired yesterday. How did it go? You were with hanging out with Jasper Carrott, looking at some new comedy talent. Any good?
It was brilliant. Absolutely fabulous night, yes. It was showcasing the up-and-coming comedy talent from the West Midlands at the Birmingham Comedy Awards. It was the Breaking Talent Award. And the guy who won, he's actually from Cradley Heath, although he was originally from Scotland, Andrew McBurney. He was like a character comedian, and his first character was this chap who'd split up with his girlfriend, which doesn't sound very funny, but it was absolutely hilarious, so well done to him. And it was, but there was a seat. There was a seat there with your name on it.
Did you get... they were asking you to judge comedy, Daz. I'm really curious. Why did they ask you?
Well, I think thanks for that. Yeah, well, ultimately, it's everyone's got an opinion on comedy. You either like it or you don't. And when it comes to art, when it comes to comedy, and when it comes to music and stuff like that, I don't actually think that there are any right or wrong answers. It's just what you like. But it's whether it makes you laugh, and he certainly did.
What was Carrot like? I do like a bit of Jasper Carrot. We were chatting about him in the office. Was he on good form? Was he a nice fella?
I've had the pleasure of his company a few times, and we obviously we're talking a lot about football. So being as he's a big Blues fan, but yeah, he's a top man, and he's a fan of yours as well, Ian.
Is he?
Yeah.
Does he know who I am?
Yeah, I think he saw you on the AT show the other week.
Oh, there you go. Jasper Carrot knows who I am. That's almost as cool as the day that I was going to interview Ringo Starr, a Beatle no less, and I was so excited and terrified. We were waiting for ages. Ringo Starr walked in and he pointed at me and said very loudly, "I know who you are." I was like, yes, a Beatle knows me, and now a Carrot knows me as well. Awesome. Well, I'm glad you had a good night, Daz. Well done.
It was top banana.
And I'm sorry I let you down. I'm just playing coy and hard to get.
Yeah, I'm playing the long game though, Ian, so I should be inviting you again.
My hotel room door, room 211, was unlocked all night. You never arrived.
211.
Thank
Okay, do you have the same room every week?
I can sort it out. Where are you today, boss? What's happening?
I'm at Molineux this afternoon. It's obviously big match coverage. All the build-up starts every Saturday at midday on BBC WM. And we've got 2 FM commentaries today. The first one will be at Anfield, Liverpool against West Bromwich Albion. Ian Hamilton, the former Baggies midfielder, part of our commentary team for that. On DAB in the Black Country and Freeview, if you've got a Freeview telly, channel 722, that's the game at Molineux with me and Steve Herman. Wolves Wigan. We've got Blues at Charlton on DAB in the Birmingham area, Walsall Bristol City, and then at 5:30 our second FM commentary, Aston Villa against the champions Manchester City with Richard Wilford and Mike Taylor. So a big day, and it's proper football weather now. None of this sunshine nonsense.
Beautiful. This is what
chucking down a rain.
I love the weather when it's like this.
Get a few sliding challenges out there.
Daz, have fun. I'll speak to you next week. Thank you very much indeed. Daz will be on in a few minutes' time. Always worth a listen. And I don't even like football. But listen, I should just let you know, we as well as doing this show Saturdays 9 till 12, producer Joe and I are also here on Fridays as well. Who'd have thunk it? 2 till 4. If you missed yesterday's show, I can thoroughly recommend you go to the BBC iPlayer and have another little listen. It was very, very spooky. It was very, very spooky. We had lots of talk of ghosts and things like that. It was a bit spooky, wasn't it, yesterday, Joe? It's quite... Yeah, she's nodding. Go and have a listen to the iPlayer. Let's read some of these texts. Ian, why has altruism become a dirty word in this me society? It's from Lorraine. It's a pity the media don't tell us some good news for a change instead of the amount of publicity the jihadists get. Black country is terrible, can't understand them. Have a Suttonian accent, that's the best, from Dave. The royal town of Sutton Coldfield. Paul says Alan Henning is a hero because he helped the needs of many and was unarmed. And Kate Bush has texted in. Ian, I've got front row tickets for a Prince concert for sale. Meet me at the bandstand in the park at East Grinstead if you're interested. Kate, I'm on my way, baby. Alan's in Sutton Coldfield. Hi, Alan.
Yes, I'm just walking to work now because I found about an hour ago.
Well, we've only got you on because we're desperate to fill the last 3 minutes, so...
that's what I guess so. It's just the comments by Doreen from Erdington.
Yes?
Just talking about them people, which I found very offensive.
Remind me of what she said.
She said Alan was wrong to go there because there's plenty of people to help over here.
Oh, she said that he'd helped the wrong people.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't
quite... is very wrong.
I wasn't quite sure what that meant.
Well, I do, but I can't say it on air, you know.
Well, say it. Why can't you say it?
Because Doreen phones a lot of times.
Oh, I'll give
and there's always an undertone to her comments.
Okay.
And I'm saying no more.
Okay, Alan, you're saying no more.
But, you know...
Alan, listen, we're coming to the end of the show.
Yes.
You're out walking to work. What's the weather like?
It's pouring down with rain.
Beautiful. Isn't it wonderful?
Yes.
We're in winter now, Alan.
That's right. Anyway, I'm glad I filled some time off for you.
Alan, listen, it's been a really busy show. I'm sorry we only squeezed you in now. But thank you very much for picking up.
I really enjoyed the show, anyway.
Thank you, mate. You're very kind. Thank you very much indeed. There we go. That's it. That's your lot, dear listener. Do go and listen to yesterday's iPlayer. We've also put some videos up on the Facebook page of some spooky goings on facebook.com/BBCWM. You can go and have a look at that. So, yeah, we're here every Friday between 2 and 4, every Saturday between 9 and 12. If you want to get in touch with me during the week, and lots of you do, it would appear, you can send me emails, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. We're always on the lookout for stuff that we can do on the show. Hazel, for example, who was ripped off by Kate Bush, got in touch with us and said, I've got a story I think you might be interested in. So even if you think it's small, it's trivial, it's big, it's whatever, if you think it's something we might be interested in talking about and having a little look at, then do send me an email, because we get some of the best stories comes from you. Forget the team of trained monkeys we've got here. The best stuff comes from you. So drop me an email in the week, ian.lee@bbc.co.uk. I spell it properly, by the way. It's IAIN.LEE@bbc.co.uk. IAIN.LEE@bbc.co.uk. I think we got away with it for another week, Producer Joe. I think we suckered them in. Thank you very much for all of your calls. Back next Friday, 2 till 4. Then Saturday, 9 till 12. Do keep listening, though, because coming up after midday, it's the legend himself, Mr. Daz Hale. Until next week from us, ta-ta.
The voice of Birmingham and the Black Country.
BBC WM 95.6.